This is the best possible start to Manor Lords. I'm going to be covering the first 6 years of gameplay. We're going to get to 300 population or 100 families. I'm going to be showing you all the cheese strategies. I'm going to be doing a full explanation of how and why things work and how and why I do things a certain way. The entire build order is month by month, so you can follow along by just looking at the text on the screen. If you want to play it differently, that's fine. This works on any start. You don't have to re-roll for a closer tree line or for a better bountiful anything. You can just play this on any start you have. This is the least luck-dependent build order that I have found. One of the fastest, most powerful, and easiest to follow, easiest to play. Let's get into it. So the very first thing you're going to do is click New Game, and then I just pick the cross here, and I just, scale it up a bit and put a bunch there. Pick the bald guy, and let's change his name to something more YouTuber-friendly. Heinz, there we go, Would-be Heinz. And we're going to continue. Now, we're playing the default Restoring the Peace mode. With the default settings, I didn't change anything. Now, I will mention that this version that I'm playing is a beta patch that is semi-available to the public. It's going to be the most updated version that you'll probably play for a while. I also want to point out a lot of the cheese strategies in this video and a lot of the things that I will be doing will probably be patched in the future, altered. So check the comment section, and if a bunch of people are screaming, oh, this is patched or this doesn't work anymore, then you'll have to figure a workaround for that specific section. But let's go ahead and get started. And this is going to be a very, very long guide and very detailed. This is going to be several hours long, so grab a snack, sit your butt down. Let's talk about it. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to fully educate you on all the things that I have come to know, and I have done a lot of studying. This guide has taken well over a month to make, and yeah, it's pretty wild. So very first thing we're going to do is pause, and I'm going to explain a few things of what we're doing, while we're doing it, how the game works, and so on and so forth. Now, the very first thing that I want to educate you on is roads, and why I won't be using them. And yes, you probably could make this better, but no roads, and yeah, let's make that bigger for you. So let me draw and explain why, alright? So this is going to be an ox, this little circle here, right? Okay, so when you have roads, let's say, we'll use red as the roads. Let's say you have roads that look kind of like this, and, maybe they go over here. Anyway, so what happens is, I'm going to make orange the path here. What the ox will do is, let's say there's some wood over here in this orange circle. The ox will default take the road, take the winding path of the road to get to the wood, and then he's going to take the road back, and then deposit it in the building that needs construction, okay? But if you don't have any roads, the ox will just go straight, grab the wood, and then go straight to the building and drop it off. Now, which one is technically faster? Well, if you have good roads, absolutely. If you have very nice, powerful, very quick roads, then obviously the ox will get a speed buff on the roads. It's not a lot, it's a little bit, and he will be more effective at grabbing the wood, taking the road, and going and dropping it at the building. But when you're constructing like 20 buildings at once and stuff later in the game, roads can cause roadblocks. Let's say now instead of one ox, you have 20 of these oxes, and they're all running up and down and left and right on the roads and stuff. It causes traffic jams, it causes slowdowns, and the AI is really stupid, especially later on when you expand your town so big that the King's Road, is going to interrupt. So your ox, he's going to go grab some wood, he's going to go to the King's Road, travel on the King's Road, and then drop it off at the building, get back on the King's Road, and then eventually, go back into open terrain. But what I have found, because when you have no roads, you can go straight to where you need to go and straight to drop it off. It's just faster, more reliable, there's no traffic jams. So I will not be teaching you how to build roads or any kind of stuff like that in this video. Before you even start the game, now I'm going to talk real quick about a tier list of sorts, and that is, rich deposits. So there are 2 rich deposits per map. The best you can possibly get is iron, which I would say triple S rank. It's the best one. Way down in C tier, there is no A and B tier, is clay and soil, then hunting and berries, and then stone is worthless. Like a rich deposit in stone, garbage at this point, at this stage in the game. Stone is not used for hardly anything. So you're going to zoom your map out and you're going to check. Now in this case, I happen to get berries and I got clay. And again, I told you this build order works for any start. And we have a very far away berry deposit, and so it's going to take several days to transport that back to our little starter town here. And our main tree line has wild animals. Well, there's a lot of trees, so a really good, fat, forest is really, really good for the style of build order I'm going to give you, but it's not necessary because by the time we reach 100 population, the trees will be self-sustaining, as in you will never deforest the whole map. So with that said, let me teach you what you need to build first. So here is the build. You're going to pause the game immediately. Once you've scouted out everything, you're going to immediately build a hitching post. I'm just build it right next to the other one, and on the hitching post we already have built, we're going to order another ox, because we're going to speed run getting oxes. Oxes are a huge bottleneck very early in the game, because we are going to be doing lots of building, and you want oxes for lumber posts, or lumber camps, and so we're going to buy an ox with our first 20 regional wealth, right? And I'm aware that this is blocking the UI a bit. Alright, so next thing, while we're still paused, we're going to plop down 2 logging camps. And you should put 1 logging camp near wherever you started. Don't put it at your main tree line yet. We're just going to put them like here and here. That's fine. Really, really close to the main little camp. And then we're going to build a forager hut. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you in other channels, build the forager hut near your base. You don't have to. And here's the reason why. I'm going to draw you a diagram. Okay, so what we have here is the green part is the forager hut. The purple circles are the berries, and this blue square building is going to be your granary. So when it's far away like this, what happens is the granary is going to travel. It's going to pick up 10 berries at a time and then bring them right back. Whereas if you don't have it set up this way, this is what happens. Now, in this scenario that other YouTubers have pointed out, we have the green building as the forage hut. So what happens is it takes several days to go pick a berry and several days to return it over here. That's 1 berry at a time, again, taking several days. Whereas when you have the berry hut next to the berries, then basically you just go back and forth collecting a whole bunch of berries very, very quickly. And then while it takes several days for the granary to come out and pick up the berries, it's doing it 10 at a time. So it is 10 times more efficient to have your forager hut near the berries. And again, this is all to my understanding as I've played and tested the game. This game has lots of bugs. I would say it's very early on in this game's development. So please, please, please just keep things in mind. They may change in the future, and I could be wrong about a few things, but after a month of studying this game, this is what I've come to the conclusion of. So with that said, we are going to build a forager hut right next to the berries, and don't build them over these berries. It will delete them. Instead, try to get the hut near the berries without having to uproot too many trees, though it doesn't matter too much if you do. I just want to get them right next to those berries. There we go. So that's the forager hut. And then the hunting camp is the exact same way. We're going to be building the hunting camp right on the outskirts of the red circle, and this one is, yeah, we'll put it right there. It's connected to the King's Road. These roads that the map starts with are called the King's Roads. And then we're going to put the granary near our little starting town here. So we're going to go to logistics and go to granary. And I'm going to tell you why we're not building a storehouse just yet, okay? So the reason I don't build a storehouse is as follows. Yes, we do have supplies on the ground. Let me talk about the supplies. The granary is going to pick up the bread. All right, the bread can't be destroyed once it's picked up. The firewood will show that it is destroyed when it rains, but it won't technically be destroyed. I guess it's a bug right now, but we're gonna use that to our advantage. Next up is the stone. If this gets destroyed, which it will, it's fine. We don't need stone for quite a while, and it's very easy to get and very plentiful. You do not need a lot of stone. We lose like, what, 20 regional wealth by losing this. And then you have 10 tools. Tools are not used currently in the game. Yes, you could sell them. They don't sell for too much. They sell for an okay amount, but you have to open a trade route. There's a lot of problems with it, so we're just going to let the tools wash away so that we can get our build order started as fast as possible and get people rolling into our settlement so we can grow it as quickly as we can. Now, another thing, too, is this hitching post that we just built. It's very important that you click on it and you make it the highest priority for your construction. And the reason why is if you don't, the salesperson will come by with an ox. There won't be anywhere to hitch the ox, and it'll run away, and you'll just have wasted your money, and you'll be so far behind. So this needs to come up first. I know that sounds weird, but then also the next two things is the logging camp. We're going to put those on very high. Get those just constructed super quickly, because once these start constructing, it's way easier to build everything else. And, well, no, not the granary. We're going to leave that on medium. We're going to put the logging camps on very high. And then finally, we're going to go over... And again, this is just because of bugs in the game. We're just going to put these on high. Like, if you don't do this, sometimes they go a very long time without being constructed. So we're just going to put the hunting camp on high. And then we're going to full blast the speed. There we go. Watch them build. Here they go. Now, when you get a message here, and I know there's text on the screen blocking it, but we're going to take that, and we're just going to... I'll unite these lands under my rule. Who cares? You know, roleplay stuff, LARPing, right? And now we're going to full blast the speed. I'll get back to you once these are all constructed. Now, as soon as these buildings go up, we're going to put a family in them. There we go. So one family's logging, two families logging. There we go. Now this hitching post is alive and well, and they just arrived. We now have 2 oxes. This is amazing. The hunting camp just finished. We're going to put person in there immediately. New message. Just don't write back. Just in conversation, right? And now we're waiting for this to be built. And again, they've got to travel a long way, so we had a very bad start. If you start near berries, it's great. It's super great. But it's not a big deal. Now, there have been some developments. Now, they want a market area for their stall. We're not going to do that yet. That's fine. We can do that later. But there have been some developments with the forager huts, and later on, if you want to make more than one, you're free to do so. I won't be telling you to build more than one of these in our guide, simply because I'm going to have plenty of other food sources, and we're mostly going to be using berries for dyes, for clothing, and cloaks. So don't worry about that. That's way later in the video, though. Anyway, let's continue on now. As soon as you have the 4 planks, timber, you're going to build a tannery, and I like to build it near the starting little area here, especially this area that's going to be cleared out pretty soon by these lumber camps. So I'm just going to put this right next to the lumber camp here. Well, I don't want to uproot any trees, and I don't want to destroy any lumber on the ground, so I'm just going to put it right here. And again, put that up on high, very high construction priority. And what you're going to do is we're going to put a family in this, and I'm still currently building the forager hut, but we're not going to have any families available until we have 6 leather in this tannery. We're also going to build a market near a marketplace. We're going to build it, like, I like to build it right in here, and there's a lot of talk about how this should go, but I just build a big fat square, and there we go. I always leave gaps between the buildings, because this can really mess up later in the game. If you have troops you need to rally, it can really, really, really screw things up. So always leave gaps between your buildings. But there we go. We have the marketplace. We have the tannery. And I'm going to speed up time now, and that's going to get built. And again, as soon as this comes up, which it really, really sucks that this is far away. So our food count's going to be a little bit lower, but it's not going to kill us. It's not going to ruin anything. So there we go. They've already got a food stall up, and that's from the hunting camp there. And there we go. We get the 2 oxes already putting in work. Again, this doubles our build speed. That's why we rush 2 oxes at the very start of the game. No one else uses this strategy. I can't believe that they don't. But again, we're going to go ahead and get that. You know, that's why it's set very high. This one is set to medium, so they should ignore it. But again, we've got 2 families, and this is taking a little bit longer because this is a really bad start base. But I just want to prove to you, you can do this on a bad start. You don't have to have a super good start. The only game killer early on is if bandits steal our leather. That's it. All right, put a family in a tannery immediately until we have 6 hide. How are we doing up here? 52%. Again, you can see that this person here has to walk all the way through the forest. Or no, that's a traitor. Never mind. Oh, man. All right. Very high priority now. We got to get that food going. We've got 6 months of food. Now, we don't have any fuel consumption yet, but, you know, we're good. And there we go. Looks like they're coming to build it now. All right, 70, 75, 79, 84. As soon as this pops up, we are putting a person in. And there we go. Family has entered. Now, we have no one to build. That's okay. Now, it's starting to rain, right? And we don't have the granary up, which is bad. And that happens sometimes. But we have 4 leather in here. And let's go ahead and pull someone off the logging camp so that we can get this granary of very high prio, get that built. Because otherwise, we're going to lose the bread. And if we do, it's okay. It's totally fine, right? And yeah, there we go. Again, we need a little bit more. We just need 6 leather. That's all we need. As soon as we get 6 leather, we're going to pull this guy out for now because we don't need any more than that. Let's see. 4 plus 2. Just wait for it. There's the 5. There's the 6. Pull them out. All right. Good. And we're going to throw them in the granary. As soon as that's built, we can go ahead and throw this guy back in the logging camp. As soon as this is built, let's check our bread. Did we lose it? No. Well, either some... I think we lost some bread. It's okay, though. It's not a big deal. But the granary is going to now... What's happened is... This is going to fill up with berries insanely fast. And so you need a granary this early. Otherwise, this will sit at 50. And this one family will have to run back and forth all the way back to town to deposit one at a time. And you don't want that. You want this granary up and operational. All right, let's continue. Next up, we're going to make a safety save. We are currently in April, and we're going to go ahead and make a save here. And this is, I'm just going to type at YouTube, start, there we go. And there's a reason we're saving here, because the bandits can kill our run. And then what you're going to do is, in this little starter area here, you're going to build burgage plots. These are your houses, and you're going to do a weird kind of shape. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So what we're going to do is you're going to click the ground and barely... you know, in any direction, just a tiny little line. Then you're gonna essentially, you know, expand out like think of a baseball diamond, right? And then expand this way. And your goal, and this may be hard to see on your screen, but your goal is to make sure that the let me explain the shapes that's going on. In the bottom left corner, there's a big house and a plus symbol with a smaller house icon. That's your main house and your house add-on. Then on the right side of this triangle, there is a house with a hammer inside the house. That is going to be your vegetable field. Now, this would be a really small vegetable field, right? So what I'm going to do is I want the vegetable field to overlap, not there, but overlap the big house. And I want this vegetable field to be very large. So what happens is the house is occupying the vegetable field, meaning that they're growing vegetables inside the house. It's kind of a glitch. This might get fixed in the future, but... this is the best way to do it. You want to kind of move the triangle until that line pops over on the right side where the big house is, and that's perfect. So we're going to build this vegetable garden, and it's going to be glitched out. It won't show that it's a fully fledged vegetable garden, but it will be. It will work. It will grow you tons of vegetables. So that's the first one. And now we need to do that again, and I don't have a lot of room right now because this starts a little jank, but we're just going to build one... I kind of want, I don't know, we'll just build it right here. We need a second one, so we're going to, again, small line, big outreach that way, and let's see, that one is not working, so we'll try it this way, and sometimes the angle just won't work too well. Alright, let's point it this direction, then let's build it like that, and again, you just got to play with it until you get it. And you can see, I can't get the line over on the house there, and we don't want one where the line is not like that. So, try it like this, and there we go. This one works pretty well. Let's see, that one's not really big, and that's not really as big as I want it to be. Now, that one's bigger, so we're going to go with that one. So that's our second one. These are going to be our vegetable plots. The sooner we get these vegetable plots down, the more food we'll have on year one. Now, we don't have any builders, so just pull someone out of the logging camp with the least logs stored. So this one has 19 logs stored, so we're going to pull the one that's empty, so we're just going to yoink the guy out of there, and then we're going to speed the game back up, and he's going to build these 2 burgage plots just fine. There we go. And again, our granary must always have a person, because that is the only way they're going to pull berries. Because right now, I guarantee the berries are full, and oh, they're so close to being full, right? And we got to get them back to town. Again, horrid start. It even says, yeah, it just filled up. So there we go. All right. And now, as soon as this is built, the order that we're going to do it in is upgrade to vegetables and then upgrade to the second housing plot. And because we're going to have 2 families on this plot, that's more than enough to harvest all the veggies. And it's not too big either. So this is done. So we're going to go vegetable garden and then expand living space. All right. And then we're going to wait for this one to complete. And now it is May, and around May, you're going to get robbed by the bandits, so we're going to see what we lose. Alright, so it is May, we are waiting for the bandits to steal our goods. We do have homelessness, stocks damaged by weather, that's fine. Everything that we need is stored, good, nice and good. Waiting for this to build, and we're going to do the same thing. Now, as soon as this is done building and upgrading, we're going to put 2 more triangles down, but we can't make them vegetable gardens because we won't have any money for a little while, and that's fine. There we go. Go ahead, veggie garden that. Expand the plot. Pause the game because we still have 1 builder. And unfortunately, by around May, if you have a better start, your approval will start raising because you have clothes. And let's see. Right now, we do have... we should have clothes here. We should have leather. I don't think yeah, we have 6 leather. That's plenty to be clothed. We have plenty of food variety. And yeah, people will they'll start getting happier, more happy than the homeless problem, right? So now that's 2 houses, and we're gonna build 2 more diamonds here, just kind of around the area. And so let's do it like this. And again, we want these triangles to be overlapping the big house. Didn't quite get it there. I'm gonna finagle this, and I'll get back to you when I'm done. All right, so that burgage plot is complete, and we're going to expand the living space. Again, these are going to be future vegetable plots, and we want to build them first because they're going to be filled by people first, and we don't want to build a vegetable plot later on when we have like 10 other houses empty and wait for those 10 houses to fill and then fill the vegetable plot because we'll be behind. And we're going to build about 4 more of these a little bit later, and then they're going to become orchards. It is now June year 1, and we are going to build more burgage plots. That's right, we're going to build 4 more triangles, and it's okay if you delete trees to get them. Trees are renewable later on, and we're not going to like deforest everything. So don't worry if you delete trees by making these. And now that I have the plots set down, we're just going to sit here and wait for them to build. We have the 2 oxes. Now, we only have 1 person unassigned that can kind of run around, but eventually the other one will, you know, kick it into overdrive. So now we just wait. Unfortunately, our approval at around this point would be over 50% in a normal build, but we have a pretty rough start. And again, that pantry is so far away. So we still didn't. Okay, the bandits stole bread. That's fine. If the bandits steal leather, load game. If they steal the leather, you won't ever get approval for having clothing variety, and it's a real pain in the butt. Now we got our first settlement level up here. And that's totally fine. You don't need to spend it right now, but we are going to spend it on orchardry, but that's not until way later. And yeah, don't worry about it. And remember, even though we can't turn these into orchards or vegetable plots yet, we're still going to expand the living space. This just gives us more slots for people to move in. Our approval has now hit 50%, so anything above 50%, every single time the month changes over, we will get 1 new population, means 1 new family for more work, more buildings, more getting stuff done. It is now July, year 1, and what's going to happen in July is these berries are going to disappear. And right now they haven't because it just clicked over, but keep an eye on it. As soon as these berries vanish, you need to pull your forager out of the hut. So, and what he's going to do is he's going to build a sawmill. He's going to do it near your lumber camps. Now, or your logging camps. Now, you have 2 logging camps. And depending on how busy they've been, they might have cleared a good amount of the tree line. In this case, not so much. So, again, because this is a very dense forest. But sometimes you'll have a start near your little village area where the trees are very sparse. Kind of like, you know, like these spacings of trees. And once you've cleared that out, you would want to move the camp closer to the tree line. Especially like this camp, which is not really being utilized too well. We can go ahead and move it later. But this one is still very close to these dense forests, and so we don't need to move that one right now. But anyway, I'm just going to speed up time here, and we are going to wait until these berries disappear, and when they do, we pull the forager out. Oh boy, so I got a bug. You'll notice my clothing stall says abandoned, and yeah, that sucks. So we're going to go ahead and demolish that, and what we have to do to fix that is put someone in the tannery, and then have them make a stall. It's a real pain in the butt. And then what we need to do, again, there we go, he's got the clothing stall, because, again, they weren't getting happy because there was no one selling the clothing. Yeah, so we're just going to have him set in the clothing stall with no builders at the ready. It sucks, but sometimes it bugs out. Oh, well. Now, when you build the saw pit, set a construction reserve to 5, so they don't use all of your, of your timber. You want to make sure you have plenty of timber. In August, you're going to wait until you have enough planks to build a church. Right now, it just clicked over into August, but you normally would have enough planks by this moment, but I'm a little behind because I had to put a guy in the tannery to get the happiness up. You can see that they're just now getting happy with the clothing market supply, and you would normally be at 6 population by now, but hey, it's a bad start. It's a really bad start, but we'll get there. It's fine. Alright, bandits stole berries, not a big deal, it's totally fine, as long as they don't steal the leather. Now, when building the church, there's a few things, and I don't have enough planks. Okay, well, let's just increase that to 6. It's not supposed to dip below 5, but it dipped to 4, I don't know why. This game's buggy. But anyway, so there's a few strategies for placing your church. You can either place it near your logging camps to have it build much faster, because they do have to haul stone, which will be just, you know, randomly on the ground or whatever. And yeah, we have the stone. Again, it doesn't wash away. Or if you want to, you know, really think about the future, think about future battles, because the church and corpse pits are how you remove corpses to keep people happy. You generally want your church in a wide open area because you generally want to have your fights in a wide open area. So you can put a church over here. That's just probably where I would fight most armies, but if they're approaching from this side, then I would have to have it somewhere over here, which I'm just going to place it over here. So I'm just going to do that. It's not a super big deal, but I would keep this area where your markets are and your storage buildings. Don't put the church near your markets. Like, put your church away from the markets. I'm going to put it down here in this corner towards the wood line. And make sure you set it to highest priority. That way they build this thing right away. The sooner this pops up, the faster you can get to 75% happiness, meaning you'll get 2 people moving in per month instead of 1. Also, as soon as you plop the church down, change your saw pit reserve to 20. I'm going to put 21 just because it's being buggy for some reason. It is now September year 1, and you are going to build a storehouse, and you're going to build it near wherever you put your market stalls. And so I'm just going to squeeze it right in there. That's fine. And now they don't have to build this right away, but at some point you're going to want to have a person in there just hauling and moving stuff around, because we're going to be building a trade building very, very shortly to get our income rolling. I just had a family move in, and because this logging camp is empty, I want to put them in here temporarily for now. And yeah, there we go. So we're continuing to build the church. We have the storage house, which is also under construction. And we're just waiting for these to build. As soon as we have more timber, we're going to build a trading post very shortly. Now, we need to build a trading post, and we have to build it on the King's Road, and I'm going to explain kind of how this works. So, on the edge of the map are these trade points, and see where the road is connected to the trade points. What you want to do is get as many of these kind of all in the middle as possible. So we have this trade point, and again, we have this trade point, so that's 2, and then down here we have a 3rd trade point. And then, of course, everything else on the outside of the map would end up on either this road or this road, so it doesn't really matter. But in this case, this is kind of a bad King's Road. Lots of twisty, windy roads, but we happen to be living near the King's Road, and in this case, we're just going to put the trading post right in here because it's close to our storage. It's on the King's Road. We're just going to put it right there, and there we go. If it's not on the King's Road, then what happens is the wandering traders won't buy and sell from that building. So you're just losing out on extra deals. And for the berry deposits, I want to point out, if it's not a rich deposit, or maybe mine's just bugged, this goes away in July. This empties in July. It does not come back until March of next year. But for whatever reason, it's still there in September. I don't get it. It's whatever. I don't have anyone on it just because that's how my build goes. So I don't know if this is bugged or it's because it's a rich deposit. I really honestly don't know. I've never seen it happen though in 1 month of playing. So our church just finished. Now our happiness because of the church is going to skyrocket. It's going to push us well above 75%. It's really, really nice to get that church out nice and early. Very, very nice and early. And then we have, as soon as the trading post comes up, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be selling so we can get some early, what is this called? Regional wealth. In October, you will receive your armament delivery. This means that you just received 20 large shields and 20 spears. Now you have a very small military, which we're going to be using pretty shortly in the next year. It really depends on how the game flows. But as soon as one person moves in, so we have 8 people right now, put one into the storehouse so they can start moving all the good stuffs. And I'm still waiting on this trade post to finish completion, but we're going to be building stuff here in just a little bit. By now, your trading post should be done building. Usually, it takes a little bit longer in October, especially if it's really far away from your starting town. Again, that just totally depends on where you spawn. But anyway, you're going to go to the trading post, and then you're going to click Trade, and you're going to set the following as exports. And I'm going to walk you through this on the screen together. So for stone, we're going to click the left little box here that says No Trade. Click Export. That means that we're going to be selling stone. And we don't have any stone right now, but that's fine. We're going to get stone later. And just set it to 15, because we're only going to need 15 stone to build our next building, and then that's it. We don't need stone anymore, really. Then we're going to set planks. You're going to go to export, and even though we don't have this right now, we're going to set this to 20. So what this number means, this 20, anytime we have more than 20 planks, we will attempt to sell it at 2 regional wealth. I don't know if this is silver or gold. I don't know what the money is. And then you're going to go to your food section. You're going to export berries, and we're going to set that to 80, which normally in most builds you would have more than 80 at this point, so you'd start selling immediately, but we don't, which sucks, but that's okay. It's totally fine. Down to vegetables, which we don't have any yet, but we're going to set that to 80. And then you're going to go to crafting materials, and you're going to set firewood to 100. Because we're going to need a lot of firewood. And you're probably thinking, yo, the UI is warning me about firewood. It's telling me that we only have 2 months left to live until we all die and freeze to death. And we're going to fix that this month, don't you worry. Oh, by the way, since I only have 8 population right now out of 14, these other triangles that I have built, I have not expanded them to have, you know, duplexes or 2 people living on the same plot. Not yet, but when we get closer to this population cap, that's when we will build it, because right now we have other things that we need to build, and that is, we're going to be building 2 woodcutter lodges. Now, a lot of other builds and YouTubers, they build this thing like right away. You don't need to start stockpiling this ever. This is the easiest resource in the game to get. This is just firewood. They chop a tree, they chop down the tree into little firewoods, and they're done. So I'm going to be putting this near these silly wood lines that are near my starter town, so I'm just going to put one there, and then one here, and we're going to move these around a bunch. It's totally fine. And we're also going to remove our saw pit worker because we only have 12 timber. It's going to be a while before he can saw anything, and we're just going to take him out. He's going to help build, and then we're going to throw him in one of the woodcutter's lodge. And normally our happiness would be a little higher by now, but regardless, once the next person moves in, we can cram them into the woodcutter's lodge. Oh, and here's a fun tip, because we don't need the tanner for a little while. Because we have plenty of leather for our population. So what you can do is click advance, or click people. You're going to click reassign family to different workplace. Click the storehouse, and I don't know why he lost his clothing stall. He's not supposed to lose the clothing stall. So just smash the stall once again. It's gonna make your people unhappy, whatever. Again, this game is so buggy. And then we're gonna take one guy out of the storehouse. What's going to happen is the guy running the storehouse will start up a shop for the leather so everyone can have their clothes. It's just really, really buggy and weird. I don't know. I don't get it, but that's going to free up another person so that we can put them into these woodcutter lodges and to help build. Alright, so bandits stole berries, and at this point, they also stole some hide. Who cares? If they do steal the leather, just to have your tanner make more. Like, there's no reason to, like, load game at this point. Now is a good time to relocate one of your logging camps, so I'm going to click the relocate button. I'm picking the one that's empty. We're just going to click relocate, and we're just going to make sure your logging camps in your, what is this, the woodcutter lodges aren't cutting wood near wild animals or berries. Luckily, the berries are all the way over there, so we're very safe with that. So what I'm going to do is move this logging camp over here near the church. Just put it right next to that church. And then the saw pit's still in a good spot. It's right in between the 2 logging camps. The saw pit needs to follow your logging camps when they move. The secondary one, you only want to move one of these at a time, otherwise it's going to bottleneck you for a little bit. So again, this one has plenty of timber on it, so we're just going to keep it here for now. Now, you're going to get the warning that you're running out of fuel. This number is going to be a big red 0. It's going to get a little scary, but your people are going to build a firewood stall, and they're going to start teleporting firewood into people's homes. It's totally fine. Don't panic. It's not even winter yet. You're okay. You'll be fine. And with that, we've finally crossed above 75% approval. This means we will now get 2 people every month. Not at the same time. It takes it a little bit. It kind of staggers it out. But we're going to start growing very, very quickly at this point. Much faster than any other video I've found on YouTube. It is now November year 1, and what you're going to do is you're going to build a well. You don't really have to do this right now, but it's just fun to get out of the way now. You're going to make sure that you build this away from your marketplace spots. I generally just kind of build it somewhere random, so I'm just going to put this near the road, I guess, or where's another good spot? Like way up. I'm just going to put it way up here near the road. Screw it. Just put it out of the way somewhere. You only need this to go to the next tier 2 burgage plot, which we're going to build one of, by the way. We're going to, let's build one. Let's see. This is going to be our bow crafter, and we're going to make this guy very close to our storage. There's our storage. So the way we're going to do this is we're just going to make a tiny little onesie house, kind of like this. And you want to make sure that it has a backyard, but not a secondary spot. I mean, you could, but you don't need it. There we go. So this one's pretty small. It's got a backyard, and it's a single house. So we're going to go ahead and build that. Let's make that the highest priority construction. And later, this is going to be our Fletcher. This guy is going to make war bows. He's going to put them in the storehouse. The storehouse is going to pass it out to everybody. And everyone's going to be armed and ready after the first year. Oh, and at some point, once that's built, you're going to expand the living spaces of these triangle burgage plots. It's not super important right now because we're only at 8 out of 14, or 8 out of soon-to-be 15. So no rush, but just think about it. Once your single burgage plot and your well has finished, click on it, and sometimes it'll be bugged, but it should be happy enough to upgrade to level 2. And this is the only level 2 building we're going to be using up until we are at 300 population. And the reason for that is so we can avoid the king's taxes, but don't worry, we will have a fully fledged military. Everything will be good. We will be very defended, and this is going to be our Fletcher. But for now, just upgrade it to level 2, and there won't be a person living here for a while. They'll come pretty quick. But essentially, right now, we're just going to wait for December, and we're going to start trading and earning money, which will allow us to start mass producing oxes and getting our vegetable plots and eventually our orchards. We're gonna have a boom in an economy as long as we don't have really bad bandit spawns. And more on that later, but right now, let's just finish up the year. So the coolest thing about this build is that we rushed vegetables year 1, which is really nice for food variety, and we don't have a heavy reliance on berries. It just makes the people happier. We rushed the church, which makes people happier, so we're able to population boom much earlier than any other build I have played around with in the entire game. This is the fastest way to grow your population, which is the fastest way to mass expand, earn money, and get everything done and have plenty of people to have every single thing you could possibly want. Alright, it is December, year 1. It is time to save your game because things can go bad, so make a save, and don't do an auto-save. When you save your game, click Save Game, and then name it something like whatever you want to name your game, and then December, year 1. That way you know exactly what you're clicking on. Be very descriptive with it. Your next job is to upgrade your hitching posts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click a hitching post and then click upgrade to small stable. That's going to eat some of our planks, but we have plenty of planks. And I did eventually put a family back into the saw pit because I had an overabundance of timber. And once more families move in, which our approval did go down a little bit, but that's fine. It'll go back up. As soon as families move in, throw them in the trading post. Fill this sucker up. That's how we're going to make our money. Oh, there is actually something I did forget to mention. Go to your hunting camp and switch the hunting limit down to 8. I was supposed to tell you this at the start. It's okay. It's totally fine. We just have a little bit less meat than we normally would. It doesn't really affect anything. You know, just whenever you can, just change it down to 8. Again, this is just min-maxing. This is like fractions better food and hide. Like if you don't change this and you play the game 6 in-game years, you're gonna have like maybe 40 or 50 more meat than you wouldn't have. It's really not, it doesn't really matter. Next up, you're going to upgrade your storehouse to a large storehouse, and then also you're going to upgrade that burgage plot, even though no one lives here right now, to a Fletcher's workshop. And what that's gonna do is eat one of your workers. So we're gonna wait for a family to move in. That, or if you want, you can just move someone out of your woodcutter lodge because, I mean, we have 23 months of firewood. So I'm just going to do that, you know, kick them out of the firewood hut, and now they can craft bows for the rest of their life. Yay! Alright, bandits did steal leather, which sucks, so I'm not going to have 2 families move in for a little bit. Or maybe, I don't know, the approval is really weird in this game, but we're going to be smashing those bandits and getting that leather back very soon. So it's totally fine right now to just do without it. No need to load your game, unless you really want to, but it's not a big deal. Oh, and if you're wondering how I get these little numbers to pop up, I just hold the tab key. That's all I'm doing. So there you go. Alright, we are now done with the first year. We're in January. This is the second year, and there is a lot of micro we need to do in this year, but the rest of the game will be very easy and automated, mostly. So the first thing you're going to do in January of year 2 is, as people come in, you're going to fill up this trading post. I just need one more family to move in, and it'll be full. Once that's done, we're going to go to trade, go to military, and we're going to open up a trade route for warbows, set it to export, and set the number to 36. So what this means is we're going to keep 36 warbows, and anything else we craft, we will sell. That's going to give us plenty of cash, plenty of moolah. And then after that, every time our regional wealth is at 20, we're going to click on the stables that we have, and we're going to order another ox. And you're going to continue to build hitching posts and upgrade them to stables until you have about 14 oxes. Now, you can only order an ox once a month, so whenever you click on this and you have one on order, it'll tell you how many days remain until you can order another one. So always keep that in mind. Don't spend any of your regional wealth if you're about to be able to order another ox. The oxes are priority over everything because they're going to rapidly speed up our construction and expansion. Also, remember these triangle burgage plots you built earlier. You're going to be... don't upgrade to level 2. That would be bad. Do not do that. You'll start getting taxed. You're going to expand the living space on them because right now we're at 11 out of 15, and if 2 people move in a month, which right now it doesn't look like they are because they're still mad about being homeless because I was a little late on that. But anyway, the point is just get these all upgraded so you have more population and so that this is taken care of. It is now February, year 2, and your spending on regional wealth is as follows. You want to prioritize ox first, then get 4 orchards down, and then your 2 remaining vegetable gardens. You're also going to be making a dyer's workshop, and I'm going to be making that over here near the storage buildings, and that's a real tight squeeze, so I don't want to do that. I want to leave some room in between the buildings so villagers and soldiers can walk. So there we go, just plop that down, and then fast forward here. We're going to be getting a message soon about raiders incoming, and that's usually in February. Should be showing up any day now. I have an extra worker, so I'm going to put that extra worker just in the woodcutter's lodge for now. Don't need them on construction or anything. We can pull them out later. We don't really need wood. We have 22 months worth, but it's just a building that they're going to be occupying. And, you know, as soon as March happens, that's when we go to foraging berries and turning berries into dyes, and we'll be selling some of the dyes for more income. Right now, I've only got 21 regional wealth, so I still haven't even bought that warbow trade path yet, but that's the first thing we're buying, so we're just gonna... We haven't bought anything yet. You know, things are just going steady right now. Just chilling and waiting. Also, you're going to get used to building burgage plots, but in a different way. We're not making the big wacky triangles anymore. What we're going to do, I know it's a little hard to see because it is winter time, but you're going to just kind of make kind of a semi-long line, and then a very, like a little square, but you want to make sure that these houses are as small as possible, single slot houses, with the smallest backyard available. And so we're going to get, we don't want to touch the road, we want to get very close to the road here, and yeah, I'm not able to get those houses on the ends set correctly, so let's try this again. And I usually build a little five at a time, kind of like this. That's perfect, so just slap that down, and those will be built over time. And always remember to be moving your logging camps, preferably the one with less logs, closer to the wood line. So I'm going to put this one like right in the middle of all the wood here. And that way it frees up room, it leaves some supplies, some logs to help build the houses. And again, later on we're going to be having forester huts that will regrow the trees. It's not a big deal, but right now we just want to free up more room for more housing and burgage plots. Alright, a lot is happening right now in February. The first thing is that you're going to see this message, and it's going to be, raiders are near. Don't say we'll be ready, because they'll attack sooner. You want to say track their movement. This gives you a full in-game year to fight them. The next message you'll have received is, another ruler's army was sighted. So what you want to do is see where they spawned. So the enemy, or the enemy baron, which is Hildebolt von whatever, that's his army. And boy, that looked like 1,836. That's not the case. No. All right, so he's got, he's got a sizable force, whatever. And what he's gonna do, he's not gonna attack you. He's gonna go clear out all the damn bandits on the map. So what you want to do is find out where his army is and where the closest bandit camp to his army is. And that bandit camp right now would be this one right here. And now you want to determine, can you get forces there before he can? So we're about, I think I'm a little bit closer. So he's going to attack this bandit camp first. But the second you see that message, which happens in February, is you're going to deploy your army. Now, sometimes you'll have archers ready from the Fletcher shop. I don't have any people in here, so I haven't been making bows, and that's fine. What you're going to do is you're going to only deploy 5 spearmen. And to do that, you're going to click spears, 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 until there's only a little 5er slot there. You're going to click on that, click rally, and then poop them out, and then clear the other guys out. And this is only 4 out of 5. So I don't know why it did that, but whatever. It's fine. It still works. And so we have, it says 5, but okay, there it goes. It worked. We're going to turn off run. We're going to turn on stand your ground. And we're going to then, again, keep an eye on the enemy's army. But what you're going to do is we're going to click the spear militia. And we're going to approach this bandit camp and make sure we don't approach any other bandit camps about half a full region away. So I'm going to click about right here. This is like half a region away. We don't want to aggro the bandits, but what we're going to be doing, and this has to be patched in the future, we're basically going to ninja loot the bandit camp while they're off fighting the Baron's army. All right? So, again, these militia that we have, these 5 people, the reason we're only using 5 is so everyone else can continue working in our city. And that way, these guys, they're not meant to fight. They're meant to run into a base and yoink all the loot. So, again, a little cheesy, a little exploity, but that's fine. Now, you might have to toggle on run if the enemy's army is approaching faster, but in this case, we're closer. If he was closer, you've got to run your ass there. Now, unfortunately, he's going to win the battle with the brigands, and anytime the computer-controlled opponent wins a fight, that's bad, because he's going to get what's called influence, and you don't want that. The faster that the computer gets influenced, the more territories he will control, and so after we ninja loot this first bandit outpost, we're going to hopefully be able to hire mercenaries to just, you know, murder these other bandit camps super duper quick and claim it for ourselves. And then if he decides to capture a territory, he sometimes won't, sometimes will, we can immediately capture it from him because he won't have an army stronger than the mercenaries. So what I recommend, because this can get screwed up, is make a safety save, and I'm just going to save game, and I'm just going to type safety, if I know how to spell, there we go. And you want to make sure that you do this before you have a whole month to fight, because this game has an anti-save scum mechanic where if you load a game for 1 whole month, you cannot hire mercenaries. And I'll talk more about that in a bit. But let's go ahead and continue moving our spear militia. And while you're doing that, you need to be microing your main base. So our base is here. I'm going to push T. No, I don't want to. No, don't run back. No, that's not what we want. Make sure he's running towards the objective. Left click to deselect him. There we go. And again, make sure that we have 4 people unassigned right now. There's not much to build. We need to be putting them in buildings. It's now March, so that means berries. Even though it shows that they are growing, go ahead and put a person in your forager hut. And, no, I wasn't supposed to click that. Oh, well. Whoops. That's just habit. Whoops. I'm going to be behind, but it's not that bad. It's not a big deal. And then we're going to put a person in our dyer's workshop. And, yeah, so everything is looking pretty Gucci here. We still have 2 extra builders to run around and build stuff. We're not population capped. Everyone's happy above 75%. We're making money. Yeah, everything's good. So we can just put them wherever. I'm just going to throw a second guy in the logging camp just because that way, there's nothing really being built right now. Let's continue and micro our warrior here. I've got everything sped up and ready to go. I'm keeping an eye on the enemy's militia. And again, if you aggro the bandits on accident, run towards his army because he will engage. But don't run too far away. Make sure that run is not toggled so he is not fatigued. You don't want a fatigued person. And, okay, we're going to just chill here. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep an eye on his army. And we're going to make sure that, well, as soon as the bandits show up on the map, they're going to show up with a little, like, number here and a symbol, and they're going to run towards that enemy army. That's when we immediately click on this camp and ninja loot it. Alright, so the bandits have now engaged, and as soon as they pop out, that means they're aggroed. So, because they popped out when the bandits got about this close, it's about half a region away, I guess. Now we're going to toggle run, and we're going to draw a line on the bandit camp and then click on it. It's buggy, trust me, it's so buggy. And then we're just going to run up, and what the enemy army did is he's withdrawing these guys and letting the archers duke it out. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter, right? Just make sure that these guys don't change into us. But they're going to fight, and then we're going to touch this bandit camp, and we're going to pause. We're going to get a message We're going to click the message, click this belongs in my treasury now. That's going to add it to our personal funds. Immediately, we're going to click the create new units button, click the hire mercenaries. And yeah, we got a big bunch of picks here. So we need to read the town names. Hoffenstein, Waldebrand, not the best ones. We want whatever is in the bottom left corner here, which is Eimeruth, Eichenau, and we're Nuzloth. So 2 of the bandits want to spawn. Oops, let's keep the game paused. 2 of the mercenaries want to spawn in the top right corner of the map. But we can get these guys in Waldebrand, which is in the middle of the map, which works for us. So we're going to immediately do that. And sometimes you won't have this available. If you can't do this because of the range and the RNG, you're going to have to just ninja loot the other camps, and then the computer, you'll have to fight him and save scum that. And I'll teach you how to do that too. But right now, we're going to keep the game paused, damn it. We're going to get these guys in Waldebrand in the middle of the map. They cost 90, don't worry. We're going to make that money back. It's totally fine. Alright, so now when I open my military menu, we can now just run these camps down. And just set them to run, it's fine. Set them to push forward. Go ahead and... oh, yeah, they're very close. So let's go ahead and just kill that camp immediately. So there we go. Now our guy can go ahead and run back to town. We are back to our base. We don't need to keep him out anymore, and he can stay running. That's totally fine. But what we're gonna do now is when we beat up the bandits, we get influence. So we definitely want that to happen. And if these guys die, who gives a crap? They're mercenaries. Their lives do not matter to us. So we're going to engage them. Click the camp, which draw a thing on the camp. There we go. We're going to also claim this to my treasury. There we go. We've made 262. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Go to the next bandit camp here. Draw a line on that. Whatever. Speed it up, and that's easy peasy. Now, these guys, in 26 days, we will have to pay them again, but we're not going to worry too much about that. Also, we got 320 influence by creaming those dudes. Alright, so, again, just charge into them. It's okay if these bandits die or not. It doesn't matter, right? There we go. They're fighting. It's done. Draw a line on the camp. Click on it. Get them in there. Make sure that this doesn't, expire, right? Alright, there we go. So now, at this point, because we have 262, which is pretty damn good, I like to keep it above 300. But if you want an economic boom, you can go ahead and click send resources to nearest town. There we go. So, again, we got all of our stuff back, and we got the regional wealth there. So what we can do now is we can go... oh, and once this guy's in the territory, you can click disband unit. Also, for these guys that we hired, make sure there's no other bandit camps at all on the map. But don't disband them yet, because we want to see if this guy starts claiming territory. If he does, we're going to have to fight over it, which we can totally afford, because right now we can hire, well, we can hire everybody. So, yeah, we're going to have a bigger army. We can totally afford all of those people right now. But the point is, also, there's a bug. I want to talk about a bug. You won't be able to build your personal treasury, but if your mercenaries that you hired died in battle, and you don't have enough money to pay them, they will just stay on the map forever. So they're like permanent units. But if you build up your wealth, you will have to pay them again. So we're gonna keep an eye on this 22. That's 22 days remaining. On our soldier here, our spear militia. As soon as he's in this red territory, we click disband so that he goes back to work. Because we got regional wealth, we're going to go ahead and go to trade and do that warbow thing I talked about, which, I accidentally clicked on that forager hut. It's fine, so we made up for it. Export, set this to 36, because we want 36 soldiers to have warbows for themselves before we sell. Alright, and then at this point, we have 112 regional wealth. That means we can start doing orchards. So, let's see. You get an orchard, and you get an orchard too. There we go. So we're spending this money as soon as we get it. As soon as this dings over to 20, I'm clicking this and I'm clicking order another ox. So because I was able to hire mercenaries to clear the bandit camps, which is preferably what you should do, it's just the easier and smoother way to do it because it boosts your economy faster that way. After doing that, the enemy Baron won't claim territory, but if the Baron clean sweeps all the bandit camps, which for most players, that's what he's going to do, you will immediately start capturing a region. So what you have to do is you have to deploy all of your military first before you ever buy any mercenaries. Then you need to buy all the mercenaries that you can, all of them. You should have the treasury fund. If you are not able to buy the mercenaries, I mean, if you're not able to buy the mercenaries to clear the bandit camps at first, you can still ninja them with your initial 5 spearmen, and you would put all of that into your personal treasury so you can afford the mercenaries. Then you would immediately use the mercenaries to go to the battleground, beat up the Baron, which will then win you that territory, and it sets the Baron behind. But you won't get influence. It's way easier to just build up your influence and then capture territories on your own. And if you do fight the Baron, during the fight, he will mail you a letter. He'll send you a text on his phone, right? And he will tell you if you bugger off, he'll give you some money. And so what you do is, as soon as you beat him and the game declares you victorious, and your region turns from, gray to red, meaning you own it, you write him a letter back saying, yeah, that's fine, I'll take the money, and then he'll pay you money, even though he's already lost the territory, and you will get all the money back and then some from all the money you spent hiring all of the mercenaries. So that is a valid strategy. It's just more micro, and it's harder to save scum because you can't hire mercenaries if you load game within that same month. And in saving before a fight and having proper everything here is really the way to go. I'm going to cover how to do battles later on, like the stand your ground button, the push forward button, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm going to cover how to do and micromanage all that later. Right now, you don't need to learn that. We're going to just kind of focus on our city building for now. In April, we are going to start our farms. You're going to make a farmhouse and 9 half Morgan squares. I'm going to show you what that is and what that looks like once I get it all set up. Oh, and do remember, every time you have 20 regional wealth, you need to be buying an ox. But that's after you have your vegetable gardens and your orchards set up. The vegetable gardens you could wait on. I don't like waiting, so I'm actually just gonna buy one there. I have one more vegetable garden here to buy, and then I can start mass buying oxes. Now, I just want to say that because of those bandits, I was able to afford all the orchards, and essentially what that means is by April of year 5, come harvest season in September, we will have full yield of apples, and year 6 is the year we will have 100 families, which is 300 population, meaning that you will have 200 soldiers, everything will be like ready to go, you will have a massive population boom, a technological boom. You're going to see it a little bit later in the video, but everything's going to line up just perfect for us to just conquer the game, easy peasy. And the reason we're just setting up farms now is so that we don't have to later. That's why we're doing it now, and the sooner we set it up, the sooner it can grow and be ready to harvest and all that kind of fun stuff. Also, I want to point out, you could look at the fertility, and if you want to build based on fertility, you totally can. I don't ever care about fertility because I just use crop rotation anyway. Sort of. It's bugged, but if you do it a certain way, it's not so buggy. So this is how I have it set up. Here's the main city, and it's fine if it's far away. That's cool. That's what your storage house and what are these things called again? The granaries. That's what they're for. And here's how you're going to set things up. So you're going to click a field. You're going to click wheat, crop rotation, fallow. Then you're going to click the second field. It's going to be fallow. Second year, wheat. Third year, fallow. And then your third field will be crop rotation, fallow, wheat. So that top one is done. That's your wheat field. Then you're going to go over here, and then you're going to do barley, crop rotation, fallow. And then, again, crop rotation, fallow, barley, fallow. And then crop rotation, fallow, barley. And then finally, your third one is going to be flax, fallow, flax, fallow, and then fallow, flax. That way, you have one field of every crop growing all of the time. And if you want, you can just put one guy here and forget about it forever. And that's what I like to do. Or, if you really want to min-max, and I've tried both, you can cram this farmhouse full of people, and you can have them work every field every year and rotate all of them, but you don't get as much yield, and this way it's just way easier to process. Yeah, so that way you're having one of every crop every year, and if you want, you could also just Zerg rush it, fill up the farmhouse. You're going to have plenty of people anyway to do this. Once they're done and the seeds are all doing whatever the heck they do, then you can remove everyone but one person from the farmhouse, and they can go mess around with other stuff. It's however you want to play it, but this is the easiest way to start. Also, don't forget to move your saw pits and your lumber camps near the tree line. Again, we're not replacing the trees right now. That's for later. We want to clear out as much land as possible so we can build more houses. Right now, our population is 14 plus 4. That's 18 out of 22. That's 2 months worth of people moving in. And so we're good. We've got 11 months of food, 21 months of fuel. We're starting to get berries, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, or dyes. Yeah, we're turning berries into dyes, and that's going to eat our food supply a little bit. So that 11 months of food isn't really as much as you think. And again, this is telling us we don't have a farmhouse, which is under construction. That's totally fine. Also, this is another one of those buildings that I like to put as highest priority, because if you don't, it's going to take them so long to build this thing. Oh, and do not forget to disband your mercenaries, which I almost forgot. I had 15 days left before I had to pay these suckers. Highlight them all, click this disband unit button, they'll disappear off the map. You don't owe them any more money. So as soon as this farmhouse finishes, I cram everyone except one construction worker into the farmhouse. You always want one person unassigned so they can build stuff. So that means I've got 3 in the farmhouse. Here's what I've got allocated everywhere. Just so if you're curious, I've got a hunting camp, 1 in the hunting camp, 1 in the berry area. There we go, which is full, unfortunately, which means I need more in the granary, but it's fine. You know, we got plenty of food. We don't need an overabundance of food anyway. I don't know why people want to farm so many berries early on. Yeah, you could sell them, but you can also sell the dyes, which we'll do later. I've got 3 oxes, which I'm behind on oxes, I'm going to tell you. But I do have, you know, another stable popping up over here. I like to spread the stables out. You can crowd them. I personally just don't like crowding stables too much around the market stalls. And we have free... You want to make sure you check your markets every once in a while. Make sure you have free stall locations. And also make sure nothing is abandoned, which doesn't look like it this time around. Finally, right? I've got 1 in the granary, 1 in the tannery. I've got 1 in the large storehouse. I have 4 orchards and 4 vegetable gardens. I have 4 in the trading post, so we can min-max our earnings. I've got 2 logging camps with 1 in each. I've got 2 woodcutters lodges with 1 in each. They're kind of far away from this wood line here, so I'm probably going to scoot them up. I've got 20 months of fuel, so if I need to, I could remove these guys and, you know, put them in the farmhouse if I need to, but I don't need to. Let's just scoot them up. That's fine. Nothing in the church, of course. You only put people in your church when you need to bury bodies. Or you can use corpse pits if it's the enemy's bodies. Other than that, yeah, that's all we have allocated so far in our little town. And I have these warnings that the pantry is full in random houses. And that, you know, the general area has some exposed goods. Which is just, what, a firewood and a timber. Oh no, whoop-de-doo, right? It's fine. It is now May year 2, and we are at 19 out of 22 living space. Because each month we're going to get 2 people in, we want to go ahead and be at least a month ahead on that. And so we're going to build 5 more burgage plots. And you don't want to connect too many at once, because then people can't path around or through them. So what I like to do is just leave a little space between 5 at a time here. And there we go. So that's a nice little 5er there we can throw down, and that is fine. I'm not really a big fan of connecting them to the road, but it works. And, yeah, so there we go. Now, if you're worried about where you're putting your houses, don't be. Because the way it works is, as long as these markets are near the storage facilities, the markets will teleport the goods to the houses that require them. That's all there is to that. But it does bug out. Sometimes you'll have to, like, break the stalls and rebuild them, as you've seen already in this video. I've got the saw pit being built here, so I'm going to put a guy in that as soon as that... That's just moving it closer to the wood line. So that would leave me at 2. And then I'm going to have a family move in shortly. We can just, again, throw them in the farmhouse. That's fine. Until winter hits, we can pull them out while they do their thing. And you can see here what they're doing. If you click on it, right now they've got to do plowing and then sowing. And then once crops are growing, that's when you pull everyone out. So, again, there's no plowing or sowing on this one. And there's very little plowing on this. This is why we're cramming everybody into there. Alright. It is now June, and you may or may not have a bandit camp spawn, possibly in May. If that happens, you need to rally your army, which at this point you should have 20 spears and 36 war bows, but you will only have about 43 males to fight, which would be like a 20, 26, whatever. But As you can see here, the fields are basically in crop growth mode, so what we're going to do is remove you can leave one guy if you want to be lazy. If you want to really min-max, you can leave no one. I like to leave one person just because, and then you can fill up your other buildings, so I'm going to get my woodcutters back going once again. Let's check we got 216 planks, 21 timber, so again, we can build more burgage plots. There's really not a whole lot to do at this point other than wait and grow big. But also, let's fill up the storehouse, because why not, and get a second person in that granary. Just helps out, you know, just makes things easier on them to move stuff around. Now that it is July, go to your trade post and set the exports to the following numbers. Also, when you have excess regional wealth, start buying chicken coops and goat sheds. And I know I have the text in the way, but yeah. You want to start buying chicken coops for 25 and goat sheds for 25, but only buy those when you are waiting for your oxes. Right now, I have an ox delivery in 23 days, or I can't order another for 23 days, but I have 27 regional wealth, so I'm going to go to my single burgage plots, and I'm going to start with the chicken coop, and then I'm going to alternate chicken coop, goat, chicken, goat, etc., etc. And this is going to build up our hides and our eggs. Now, we won't be getting a lot of eggs at first, but when we have a lot of houses with eggs, it's going to feed everybody, and it's going to make everyone super happy. People love eggs. August year 2, you're going to be pulling your forager out of the berry building, unless it's bugged, in which my case it is. I don't know why. Normally, this thing, again, it's supposed to be gone by July. Don't know why, but I'm keeping them in just because it's bugged. Okay, why not? It doesn't really matter. And your farmhouse, you know, pull everyone out of your farmhouse. Everything should be sown and just waiting for crop growth. But I'm lazy. I'm keeping a guy in there because I'm lazy. And then make a third logging camp and wood cutting lodge. I'm going to go ahead and make my logging camp over here. That's not what I wanted. Logging camp. I'm just going to push that wood line. There we go. And then the wood cutter's lodge. Let's put it right over here. I'll put it on the other side of the street for once, why not? And again, I don't think it matters where the arrow points, but you do you, whatever you want to do. And then more burgage plots, which I've already plopped down right in here. It doesn't matter where you put them. As soon as you hear the sound of, like, soldiers stomping, that means a bandit camp was sighted, and from now on, for the rest of the game, as soon as a bandit camp spawns, the enemy baron will automatically summon his army. But what you have to do is see where his army is summoned. There's his army. And where's the bandit camp? Well, the bandit camp is... Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so what this means, here's our land, and here's the bandit camp. There's no way, really, for me to rally my army and run it here safely and deal with this. So, if I could, I have plenty of soldiers. Here's how many soldiers I could rally right now. I could rally the 20 spearmen that we get for free, and then we have, you know, 27 archers. And then I could maybe, yeah, I can do 36 archers and 18 spearmen, which is more than enough to take out the bandit camp. But because I'm so far away and the enemy baron is closer, the next best thing is mercenaries. So I'm going to, you know, open the mercenary menu and see who's closest. So we have Renewable and Nuzlo. Well, I think, where is Nuzlo? Nuzlo is where I'm at, so that doesn't work. The other one was Ruth, which is over here, which is also on the other side of the map. But we can have those guys full sprint. So we have to hire the Wayward Sons, and these are 2 archers. They're really not the best. But there we go. We're going to hire these bad boys, and we're going to select both of them, have them run and fight. Now, they outnumber the bandits. Even if they're fully exhausted, they should still win. So, but hopefully because they're running, they should win this. And hopefully they should get there first. We have to hope they get there first. If not, we can at least ninja the camp, possibly. So, we're going to go ahead and speed up now. And the enemy, you know, units won't be running. They're going to be walking because they're going to, you know, reserve their fatigue. But these are mercenaries. It doesn't matter if they die. It doesn't matter if they're fighting with no fatigue. They can still beat the bandits because they just outnumber them massively. So, they're going to get fatigued, but it looks like I'm going to beat the enemy baron there. Very important to do because we don't want the baron to get any influence. Also, new mercenaries were available, so I could hire more. But yeah, it doesn't look like I need to at this point. And while that is going on, and again, this could happen as early as May. I don't know why in this playthrough it's happening in September. whatever, it's fine. But when September does hit, you're going to start all of your mining camps. So you're going to be making a stone cutter camp, and you're going to put your stone cutting camp, let's see, where's the mining? There it is, stone cutter camp. And you're going to put that right next to your stone, which is right next to my farms here. You don't want to put it on top of the stones. Don't do that. Just put it next to it. There we go. All right. And then your mining pits, you're going to put on top of, well, the two mining zones. So there we go. And then one there. And then once that's done, you're going to put your bloomery. That is an industry. The bloomery makes iron slabs. Why isn't it called ingots? Are ingots not a thing yet? And you're going to put that near your storage buildings. So we're going to put the bloomery there. And we need stone for the clay furnace. We only need 5 stone. And once we get that 5 stone, we can plop a clay furnace down right next to the building. Very, very fancy. And do remember, while all of this is going on, you have the army that's about to fight. You've got all this construction going on. You're staying on top of your oxes, right? So we're going to, again, buy an ox every time we can. Every time we got that regional wealth. And yeah, you got to manage all this at once, but you can pause the game. It's totally fine. Now, I'm 1 1/4 region away. The enemy baron is 2 regions away. That's why we're dashing. So again, these guys are heavily fatigued. They're going to slow down here, but they're going to reach it first. And as long as we reach the bandits first, they won't attempt to ninja loot the camp. Like, the enemy baron is a very noble man. He won't ninja loot you. He's an upstanding lad. And right now our armies are going to be a little separate, which could be a problem, but it's fine. These guys are mercenaries. And there we go, they've engaged. And you can see that they're just getting their butt tore up. But they've been routed because we massively outnumber them. So we got the influence. And now we're going to cap the bandit camp. Now, do keep in mind, in 12 days, I owe these mercenaries more money. So we have to disband them almost immediately. Unless this guy starts claiming, right? So what you want to do is we're going to make a little safety save. And I'm just going to call it safety save. I'm going to overwrite my safety save from earlier. There we go. And we're going to keep them around until, like, 1 day remains, just in case the enemy baron decides, you know, he wants to capture a region. There we go. So, because I had to pay mercenaries, my treasury's funds are a little bit low. But hey, my regional wealth is doing pretty well. So it's up to you what you want to do. Do you want more chickens and goats? Or do you want more security that you can hire a whole buttload of mercenaries? I like adding to my treasury. That's what I'm going to do. And boy, that was a big one. That's normally not that big. But hey, I'll take it. That's huge. That's very nice. And now, because these guys are mine for 11 more days, I'm going to run them into the middle of the map just in case there's a dispute, which there shouldn't be. But I got to keep my eye on this timer. 11 days. I have to disband them before them, or I have to pay them for more. And it does not look like the enemy baron is going to capture a zone. I only have 960 influence, so I can't capture a zone. I don't recommend that you capture any zones until you can capture all the zones, simply because there was a bug where when you send money to a nearby camp, it'll send it to one of your empty zones that you're not even building on, and it's like, well, damn it, I wanted my actual base to have that money. Now, I forgot to mention this also at the start of my guide, but if you build too close to the animals, they will migrate. In this case, it kind of works out because they migrated over here near the berries. So, again, why are there berries in September? What is this bug? Anyway, so I'm rebuilding the hunting camp now, and whoops, just keep that in mind because, again, the hunting camp, it's not a big deal. It's kind of it becomes completely useless at this part of the game. We have so much food from other sources, and we're going to get even more food later on from other sources as well. It is October year 2, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that your marketplace here it still has 6 free stall locations, but that's going to creep up very quickly. So what I want to do is I want to make sure near the granary and near the storehouse that I have another market just waiting, just so I don't have to think about it later. So I'm just going to put it like right here. It's not too far from the storage facilities. It's a nice little square there. And there we go. Again, that way I don't have to think about it. And then burgage plots, I'm at 29 out of 44, so I'm pretty good on that. I've got chicken, goat, chicken, goat, chicken, goat. You know, you can see that I've got it kind of just going down the aisle here, just alternating for now. And right now I'm waiting on more regional wealth so that I can get more oxes in. Right now I have 7 oxes. I want about 14 or 15 in total. In November of year 2, you're going to build a second storehouse. You may not need this right now, but it's going to creep up on you very soon. So just plop down a storehouse. Once it gets built, upgrade it. You'll have the planks. You should have plenty of planks right now. Plenty of everything, just about. And yeah, later on, you don't want this to fill up. It's already a quarter of the way there. 1/4, I guess. And it's going to fill up super quick as we expand. In December of year 2, you're going to set up your pastures. You won't be able to really afford sheep much unless you get good bandit spawns, which I have not. That's why I've been adding to personal treasury instead. But I'm just going to go ahead and over here, I'm going to go out and to farming and go to pasture and just make a little square that's about 30 size big. So that's about 30. There we go. So there's the pasture, and then next to the pasture, we're going to build the sheep farm, and then next to the sheep farm, we're going to build what is it? The livestock trading post. And you could put that on the King's Road. It doesn't really matter. For this one, I just like to put it next to the sheep farm. And then near our storage buildings that we have over here, we're going to build the Weaver's Workshop. And just kind of fit that in somewhere if you can. There we go, right there is just fine. January, year 3, you're going to upgrade the church when you can. You should have just enough roof tiles. I had 2 extra, so I'm going to upgrade that. That's just going to increase the happiness. And basically hold it at 100, and yeah, so not much going on right now this winter. So if you do have good bandits, which in a few of my playthroughs I had bandits much earlier than this, I don't know why this playthrough I'm not getting a lot of bandit spawns, but regardless, go to your livestock trading post, add a person to it, go to trade, and you want to import, not export, but import at least, or you can set to full trade instead, 10 sheep. That's right. They cost 30 each right now. It's pretty pricey, but you need to get your sheep going so you can start getting linen, or not linen, but yarn. Yarn is very important to get, and so we're gonna have a person in the livestock trading post, a person in the sheep farm, right next to the pasture. Which we're gonna get sheep breeding way later, and that's gonna multiply our sheep. But that's why we only need to start with 10. Also, because I have so many people, I'm just gonna fill up the livestock trading post, and once I have 10 sheep, I'm just gonna remove all of them. Because once I get sheep breeding, I don't need to buy sheep. I can just sell the lambs when they have them. Also, now is a good time to make a save because we're about to do a raider fight. So, again, it's a very easy fight. The first raid is super simple, and sometimes the NPC Baron will just kill them for you, but you really don't want him to kill them because then he gets the influence. This is basically just a delivery of influence. We have a giant super army to kill these bandits. It is February year 3. It is time to upgrade your granary, which, let's see, where is that granary? There it is. Click that upgrade button. There we go. All set. Now keep in mind, in 25 days, the raiders are going to be here, and they could spawn who knows where, so we'll see what happens. Alright, a bandit camp has spawned, and it's very close to the time with the raid. We have 6 days to the raid, so you kind of want to do both, though the raiders, if you aren't at home to defend, they will ransack your town and burn it down, and it really sucks, and it really makes everyone leave, but you really also kind of don't want to spend all of your treasury killing brigands either, but this would be the easier choice. So let's see, we have Iconal, Zewil, and Zelbits. So we can spawn Iconal and run there. I don't think it's going to beat that one, though. Selbits might be a good spawn, but what was the mercenaries? Selbits. So yeah, this is 2 melees and an archer for 90, a little pricey. And then Zwayal, which is in this corner, they're not going to make it. So again, the Baron's going to spawn right here where he always does, and he's going to run straight to that bandit camp. I think it's best if I just let mercenaries handle this and the brigands. I think I'm just going to, hire these guys at Selbits. There we go, sign the contract. That way I don't even have to bother with my own military. Set them to run, set them to push forward. And, there we go. Just kind of have them fight. Pretty simple stuff. Alright. Actually, I had them facing the wrong way. Alright. Another ruler's army was sighted. Yep, it's over there. That's fine. Alright, so that takes care of that. And again, in 5 days, I have these guys for 29 days, so they can just kill the raiders too. Don't even have to worry about it. Easy peasy. Now, in this case, the raiders actually spawned in the enemy baron's land. So these guys are probably just going to turn around and kill them. Let's see what happens. I'm curious. Sometime, like right now, they're going to the bandit camp. Oh, see, now they're turning, and they're gonna fight. There's no way. There's absolutely zero chance that I am able to kill these outlaws. There's no way to make it in time. Like, even with sprinting, there's just no way. So, what's most likely going to happen is after this fight, because it counts as 2 bandits, right? He's going to have enough influence to start capturing an area, which we could try to fight, or we could just let him have it. And so I'm going to try to save scum it. Save scum? Now, the problem is that I may not be able to do it, and I'm going to teach you how to do it after I resolve this little bandit camp here. So we're going to kill that. There we go, mow all those dudes down. And then let's go ahead and raid the camp. I'm going to send this to my treasure, or not to my personal, but to the town, because I have enough money for more of these guys. What I got to do now is see if he starts capturing a territory, and I'll get back to you. Alright, so I'm going to teach you how to properly save scum, because he is capturing gold off, which, where is that on the map? That is over here. We want to make sure that we don't have too many units nearby. And it really helps if you don't have any mercenaries, but since we already have some, you know, this is all we can do, because there's a limit of how many people you can have, but mercenaries don't count towards that limit unless it's already met. So before we do anything, we're going to rally all of our entire army, so that means our spearmen, and all of our archers, as many as we can pump out. So we're going to go ahead and rally these guys, send them out to fight. There we go. And now, again, we're doing this before we save. So I'm gonna advance time just a little bit so that my units are out. There we go. And I can't summon any more units. I literally don't have enough people, right? But now, because March just clicked over, new mercenaries are available. And if I don't buy them, the enemy baron will. But if I save and load game, I can't buy them. The game simply won't let me. So what I have to do, and it's important that he never captures anything, because it only gets worse from there. So what I have to do now is buy the mercenaries. All of them. That's right. Every single one. Because, again, if I don't buy them, I have to fight them. That's how that works. Alright, and now, because I have bought mercenaries, I can now have more units than I'm supposed to command. And essentially, I'm just going to select our entire army. And just make a blob for now. I'm going to teach you how to have a perfect comp, as in a perfect formation, and all the little buttons here you need to click. But right now, I just want to make sure that I get these units as close as I can. And also, yes, I am going to owe these people money in 30 days. That's totally fine. So, again, the ruler's army is gonna leave the map, and that's what we're waiting on. We want these guys to leave the map all the way gone. So there they go. They're all the way gone. We're going to wait a few more days. We're going to let everyone kind of rally up here. We got plenty of time here. And yes, our town is still being constructed in this time frame. Stuff is still going on. I'll get to that in just a bit. In every single one of my playthroughs, there's always a big fight in March. But also remember, it is March. Put one of those people back in your forager hut, because these berries are starting to grow. But other than that, we're going to just get everyone rallied. And also, now is a time to save, so I'm gonna click save, and I'm going to overwrite the save scum, because this is the part where we're really gonna save scum. We need to make sure that we fight properly with all of our units, and that we win this fight. And if things go bad or you misclick, it's game over essentially. Now, it's very important that you get all of your units together, but don't click this button yet, because I'm gonna pause it because it's getting close to being completed. If you click this button, it picks a battlefield, and if one of your random units are where the battlefield spawns, it will immediately start the battle. So let's say it starts the battle with our 18 brigands, okay, our thugs. Well, then the enemy army marches in, owns your dudes, and then the fight's technically over and he wins the territory. Right? So we're gonna get very, very close to this being completed, as much as possible, because we want to be battle ready before we click that war banner button. And this thing doesn't cost anything to click, by the way. So we're going to go ahead and click that, resolve the claim on the battlefield. Now we have 90 days, and the battlefield is... well, it's all the way up here, which is in his home territory. I've never seen that happen. But hey, that works for us. So now, we can go ahead and get ready for battle formations. This is that moment in 300 where the armies start marching, except we're like the Persians. So, we're going to get our frontliners, and preferably not our own units, though we do want our own units to fight. And here's how it works. So we're going to bring up all of our units here, and we're going to make sure that no one is running. No one will be running for the fight at all. So turn run off on every single character. And you would think you could just select all of them and then toggle run off, but no. It doesn't work. You got to do it one at a time. So now we're going to pick all of our melee units, preferably spearmen. We have mercenary spearmen here. So that's 36 spearmen, and we're going to draw a line. So I'm going to draw a line starting at the corner of this tree, but... well, facing the other way, so let's try this tree. Okay, there we go. We'll pick that top tree. So now we have a line there for spearmen. Now we're going to take our spearmen and continue that line. There we go. So both spearmen are now the frontliners. The spearmen will be set to stand your ground because they will be the ones absorbing a charge. And stand your ground gives you the highest DPS to survival ratio for whatever reason, according to several YouTube scientists. Now, our light mercenary infantry are also going to form very similar lines within the spearmen. So there's a melee. That's a thug. You can't command thugs the same way. They won't form lines. I don't know why. And then we will, again, make some lines with our other melee units. Now we have a big kind of circle. It's going to look like this. There we go. Alright, enemy units have been spotted. Let's see what the enemies... bring in. Again, we got a bigger, better army. It's fine. We've save scummed it. If we lose the fight, we can simply do it again. Now, the enemy commander is going to try to bribe us to not fight. So this is cool, right? We're going to click this message, and it's like 493 silver. This will go to our treasury. Don't write back. Just click in conversation. As soon as we kick his ass, we're going to take that money, and it's going to pay for all these mercenaries. Alright, so that's why, again, if, like, in 8 days we gotta pay these guys, in 17 days we gotta pay these guys, it's gonna take a while to get up here for the fight. So don't worry about money, okay? Just don't worry about it. We just want to get all of our melee units in line. But now, we do have the line here. Let's speed up, you know, things a little bit while we get in battle formations. There we go. And you want your archers now. Your archers want to be set to push forward and shoot at will. And if it's all mercenaries, friendly fire is fine. Like your dudes aren't going to kill each other. And you're just going to put the archers behind your melees. It's okay if they're a single line or a double line. It doesn't matter too much, right? There we go. Next up, we still have our archers, by the way. And again, you can stack the lines if you want. It's fine. Just make sure everyone's in a big line. Now, your brigands, your thugs, are going to be your backline defender bros, or they're going to be your flanker lads. And you can't really make them into a line, you can just make them spread out. So, again, these guys are mostly just for flanking the enemy and smushing the enemy down. Alright, so now that we have battle formations, we're going to go ahead and let everyone get into the line there. There it is. Alright. And now we're ready to march, so we're going to go ahead and select everybody. And then the battlefield is right there. There's the enemy army. And we would prefer if they run into us, but they're not stupid. The AI doesn't play completely stupid. The AI is going to use their brigands to flank our archers. Then the retinues are going to charge the front line first to absorb all the damage, while the archers pelt the front line. And then these guys are going to come on the sides. But our line is so big. Like, where's the circle? There's the circle. We want to fight in an open field, and it's going to look like that, all right? It's going to just basically absorb their army, and we want to make sure that we're in the open field just like that. And we should win this fight. No one's running. No one's fatigued. Let's run it and see what happens. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and run that. And what is it? We're in March right now, so there's not a whole lot to do. We got people moving in. We got plenty, like 100% happiness. Everyone's fed. There's nothing to attend to. Regional wealth. Let's check our city. Just make sure everything's good. How are we on the pastures? Okay, we got four sheep. So, still need some sheep. We got 217 wealth. How are we on oxes? Let's check our oxes real quick. 11 days, that's fine. And how are we doing? We got chicken. You know, get these goats and chicken farms going. There we go. Spend a little money there. That's fine. Keep the rest. And again, we're going to get huge paid for this. So... Alright, so there's the enemy army. They are setting right in the center of the circle. And when we come at them, they're going to charge us. And we want to make sure we stay in this circle. Now, there's another way to... I'm going to pause the game real quick, and I'm going to tell you. I'm about to have to pay these guys 90 treasury. That's fine. That'll be 50, 15, and 45. Hopefully we get this fight in 9 days. But, Okay, so what happens, there's another way to beat this, and you only need two like battalions, okay? I don't know if that's the right word, but what you do is you take one battalion and you aggro their entire army, and then you run away, and they will chase that battalion, and you have your other battalion sit on the combat circle. Just sit on the circle in like a corner, and you run them around for 90 days away from the circle, and then you win. So you don't even need to do this. You can cheese it by just kiting them around. It's so funny. Alright, make sure these guys aren't running. They're kind of formation's a little shaky right now, but it's fine. But we're gonna arrive here, and again, we gotta pay these guys in 6 days. Battle has begun. Here we go. Now, unfortunately, my archers are way up in front, so this isn't good. Right? You might have to manually adjust here. But let's see what happens. Again, we saved so we can scum this, right? Alright, so these guys are about to run into the archers, but these guys are about to basically charge in. So instead, we're going to switch all of our melees to push forward. Everyone's going to be set to push forward. There we go, there we go. Also, these archers didn't have shoot at will turned on for some reason. I don't know why. There we go. Push forward, shoot at will. Alright, now these guys are actually in position, so they're going to stand your ground. But they're going to get pelted by archers, and you can see the brigands aren't going to engage the spear wall. They're going to circle around. So, yeah. These guys should just collapse on them and push forward. And then our brigands should just go after their brigands. I think that works just fine. Yeah, a little sloppy fight, but we outnumber them massively. So we're just going to, again, see what happens. There we go. And it's okay if our mercenaries die. It's totally fine. It's absolutely fine. Alright. So there we go. Our brigands can fight their archers. Our archers can fight their archers. We can go ahead and charge these guys. These guys are good. So yeah, our formation kind of sucked there because we kind of just ran into their army. And we won. So as soon as we win, we pause the game. We pause the game. Beast declared. Cool. Zoom out your map. Click on Hildebolt von Bern, whatever. Click negotiation. Click, I may withdraw my claims for such a price. And then send. And there you go. And now we just got paid, but we also own the territory he tried to get. And now we're immediately going to disband all these dorks, so we don't have to pay them anymore, because they're going to want money and, like, well, I guess they just got paid, so whatever. So we could keep them around, but we don't need to keep them around. And now our soldiers, I think we lost all of our spearmen, which sucks. That's actually really bad to lose our spearmen. But it's okay, because we got money, we can get mercenaries. These guys can return home. They can run home. It's fine. And they're set to give ground because their morale is bad. But they'll get that back. Don't worry. They're okay. Now we're into April, so let's talk back to city building mode. Oh, but before we do that, we have influence. And I could have kept the mercenaries around, but the enemy Baron literally just got defeated. He has no soldiers. There's no mercenaries for him to hire. And so you want to force the map to have forced bandit spawns. So what we're going to do is we need to capture an area that we don't, like his army is always going to spawn up here, right? So we're going to go ahead and claim this area down in the bottom right by, well, clicking on it and then clicking claim with influence. There we go. And now we're claiming, he could wage war or whatever, but he won't. He has no units. And so bandits will never spawn in this corner ever again, which will make it easier to farm these 3 zones. Also, bandits will never spawn here either, which is next to him. So we've got that for us, which is nice. All right, let's get to back to the city builder mode. All right, so next up, you are going to start construction on a windmill, a communal oven, and a malt house. You could build it near the farmhouse, which is what I like to do because, again, the granaries and the storehouses will grab the stuff. It's totally fine. But you could just build them near the storehouses too, and it's whatever you want to do, man. It's really whatever you want to do. Also, this can get a little confusing, and I thought it was a bug at first, but whenever you, like, hover over your new territory, it's going to show 0 everything, right? And to see your main base, just hover back over it. Sometimes it gets stuck, and yeah, it sucks if it gets stuck and you can't see anything. But just try saving and loading, and that should fix it. Also, I just want to point out with the way I've had you build these triangles, sometimes they won't display correctly. They're like this one is showing that it's only on this little line here. But technically, you'll see that the villagers will come out and they will, like, harvest over here and stuff. It's just a display bug. It's supposed to look like this, but for whatever reason it doesn't do that sometimes. It's really infamous with the vegetable plots too, and I don't know why that is, but let's see. Like technically this is a vegetable plot, but it doesn't have like the dirt mounds. Again, it's just bugged, but it's bugged in your favor, so it doesn't really matter. And don't forget, oh, we just claimed the region, by the way. Don't forget that your soldiers need to be disbanded so they can get back to work. Now, they won't work as hard because there was deaths. But look at this. We're like in this, what year are we on now? Hold on, let me zoom in. We're on year 3, just year 3, and we have 3 zones. The enemy has 2. He has no way to ever get to bandits ever again before we get there. We have plenty of the treasury. We're not being taxed. Our people aren't starving. Our people are nearly 100% happy, which means our population boom is massive. By the way, these little red tiers means that they're mourning from the deaths. And you can click on it. They're mourning for like 6 more days. They get over it pretty quick. Death isn't a big deal. They just go get reburied. So every time you move buildings near the wood line, you do have to reallocate your, families to them. So pretty easy to do. And yeah, you can see I have like 7 unassigned families. So again, we can put one in the malt house. We can put one in the windmill. We can put one in the communal oven. And we still have 4 left over. We can use those to build. Make sure that, like, look at all the oxes running around. Like, all the other YouTubers I see, they're on year 3 with, like, 2 or 3 oxes. I'm like, bro, I've got 13 oxen, and I'm going to stop around 15, 16. And, again, another ox. There we go. Another ox in the bag. We've got our 7 sheep, so 8 sheep. There we go, 8 sheep. Almost got those done. And once those are done, I can pull all of these people out. I never need to use this building ever again because we're going to have sheep breeding. And yeah, I have these warnings. Oh no, exposed goods because I moved the building. So what? Generic storage is full. So, well, guess what? We have 5 people. Remember that storehouse? Boom, it's full. Easy. Remember that granary? Add another person. It's fine. We're population booming so hard, so fast that none of these problems matter for more than like a month at a time. It is May, year 3. All you need to do is keep busy putting your unassigned families to work, building more burgage plots if needed. I am at 44 out of 53, so that's 9. That means, that's like 4 months. I'm 4 months good because I'm only getting 2 population per. My oxen, I'm making sure that I'm buying that every 30 days, and I'm up to how many? 14 still. Okay, cool. The farms are good. We've got, people working in literally every building. We're stockpiling goods for the big boom later. That's exactly what we're doing. It's kind of like an Age of Empires strat. We're a little short on warbows. We did lose our spears, which sucks. There is a second bandit raid that we're gonna do, but we got mercenary money, so I'm not really worried about that. And we could save scum it anyway. We can just micro archers. It's really like we're gonna just zerg them down with archers. It's so funny. But yeah, we're just going to keep busy here. So in June, you can start building what's called forester huts, and these are just little buildings that will replant trees in a big circle around them. And so what you want to do is just place them near your wood buildings. So I'm going to put one like here. I want more housing like around there, so I'm going to put one like here. Let's see, so that's 2 there. We can go ahead and just like put one right around there. That's going to put forest trees there. And again, I am so forest lush on this map that I don't even really need to do this, but some maps are just like, by now, depending on where you spawned, it may be very desolate, but I got a very foresty home base here. So July year 3, if you did not get an unlucky bandit raid, or in my case in this video, the bandits spawned in the Baron's territory, which instantly got killed. If that did not happen at this point, the Baron will have enough influence through tithe, which is where you donate food to get influence. He will start claiming a territory. So if because he got the bandits early, we were able to fight him over territory. But if that didn't happen, this is when he will start to claim a territory, and this is when you should buy bandits or buy mercenaries and take them on and take a territory. But also, around this time, depending on your positions, you need to check your mining camps. So around this time is when mining camps that aren't rich will run out. So this clay deposit isn't running out anytime soon. This iron deposit is about out. So that's why we've only got the 1 person on it. That's fine. Our stone mining camp, which I've already forgot where I put that thing. It's gone. Stone is gone from this territory forever, and I gotta find it and then take my guy off of it and destroy it because we're not mining stone in this region anymore. So keep that in mind. July year 3 is about what time those run out for most builds. August year 3, you're going to make more triangle vegetable burgage plots. I just make 2, and you may be like trying to struggle to find room, but you can put them literally anywhere. It's fine. And like up here would be nice or something like that. Well, maybe not too much near a forester's hut. You might have to move that, but you'll find a spot where you can put them that's really nice. You want maybe a 4th logging camp and woodcutting lodge because, again, we're about to spike. We're at 50 out of 100 families. We're halfway there before the big econ boom. And also check your hide count. Right now, my hide count is 14, which I know you can't see because I have text in the way, but if you hover up here at the top, you can see how many hides you got. I've got 14 hides. Whenever it starts getting really high, like 40, 50, 60, stop making goat sheds and just make chicken coops. That way, because you don't need that many spillover of hides, there's really no point. Yeah, and then just to add more families to your farm shed. I think I've already done that. Where's my farms? There it is. I've got 4 families in here now instead of the 1. Again, it's overkill, but again, we're population booming. Also, at this point, I'm up to 16 oxes, so I'm going to stop buying oxes. I don't need any more. It's kind of overkill what I have now, but it's just nice to have overkill. It really is. And remember, every time a bandit camp is sighted, again, this one is right here down in the middle, go take it out immediately. Never, ever, 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 ever let the enemy Baron kill these things. If you want to use your own troops, 2 archers can take out, because it's only 16 dudes. You just make sure you're not running at them like without fatigue, or you're gonna lose a bunch of dudes. But if you do have losses, they get like it's the men that fight, and the women just remarry in the same month. They're very quick to replace their husbands. I'll tell you that. So I had my archers fight, and I lost what 8 men. Not too bad. Go ahead and just click the bandit thing there. And I'm going to send it to my region because I have 503 treasury. If you want to really start stacking your treasury, you can. And you can turn, you're going to turn this money into like super soldiers. But you don't really need to. I just like having enough for bandits. Or I'm sorry, mercenaries. I keep calling them bandits. Yeah, just hiring mercenaries. And 500 is more than enough for that. So I'm going to send it to the nearest town. There we go. But because I own like this, I don't want it to be sent here. Like, I don't want the money to go here, but it looks like it didn't do it this time. It's bugged, and it will do it sometimes. So, again, the money didn't go here either, which is, or it did, didn't it? I think the money went over here. Damn it. Yeah, it did. It totally did. And that sucks. That happens sometimes. There's nothing you can do about that. So, yeah. Oops. You know, I rolled the dice. For year 3 of September, you're just going to manage your extra families into, like, doing windmill duty, farmhouse duty, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, it looks like I don't have too much to harvest right now. But yeah, it's you can just fill them up so that way, like October, November, that they're good to go. Otherwise, you can just have them build more burgage plots. It's up to you. Oh man, it did it again. The bandit thing. I'm at 298 wealth on this zone that I don't even use. Now, keep in mind that if you build the settlers camp, it spends it from your treasury, and. And not the territory. So yeah, just add it to treasury once you start owning more properties. I called it properties. It's not Monopoly. It's Manor Lords. Damn it. Another thing that I forgot to mention at the start of my video is it's more efficient to have a logging camp with 1 family than 1 logging camp with 3 families. So you would build 3 separate logging camps for 3 separate families. Same with the woodcutter's lodge, and same for just about almost every building except for the mining ones and a few others. But that's just how I roll on this channel. I just like to punish people that don't watch the full video. The people that just skip around, yeah, they miss out on a lot of cool stuff. Year 3, October. More woodcutters, more logging camps. You want to really stockpile on that firewood. And more burgage plots. Also, around this time is when one of my mining pits exhausted, though it should have exhausted way sooner. I don't know why. Again, this game is really inconsistent. So once the mining pit is exhausted, you can remove the person from it, and then you can destroy it, and don't worry, there's some supplies on the ground. Someone will come pick that up. It's fine. November, year 3, just chill out. There's really not a whole lot to do. Make sure that you check your berries. For some reason, I still have some. You should have pulled them off in July for just about everyone else that isn't bugged. By the way, you want to make sure you check your iron ore. So I have 6 iron ore remaining and 225 iron slabs. So once you're out of ore and there's no more mining pit, you can get rid of your bloomery and free up that family. Alright, you've made it to December year 3. It's time to save your game. So I'm going to go ahead and type the name of my game and the December year 3. There we go. Nice. Just to have a little safety save. Also, you're going to find your 1 saw pit. And you're going to change your construction reserve to 60. You're going to need a lots and lots, I'm sorry, of timber, which I already have 83 for some reason. So this saw pit guy is not really doing his duty. I could make another saw pit, but whatever, it's fine. Now it's time to alter your trading post with the following. Increase warbows to 144 because we have more, people to arm. Planks to 200, all your food to 600. We want to stockpile food for the big boom. And you want to fill up all your buildings with families. That includes just things like your tannery, your weaver workshop. You don't really have to fill up the clay furnace or like the clay mining pit because we're just going to be using that for tier 3 upgrades for our houses later on. You don't need to put anybody in stables, by the way. You can keep those completely empty of people. And if you want to fill logging camps, you can, but it's better just to make an extra one instead. So, January and February of year 4. Alright, we're getting there. We're at 60 families. That is 178 population. There's not much to do right now, and I know what you may be thinking. Why aren't we building a manor? Building a manor makes some of your workers into servants, which means they don't do anything. You just sit in the castle all day, just chilling, being lazy. Well, I don't like that, so we don't need a manor. There's just no reason to have it. Yeah, it gives you some influence, who cares? We're going to build that later, right before we boom, so we can spend all of our treasury money before we get taxed. March, year 4, add more forager huts. You can add like 6 of these bad boys now. Even if it's not a rich deposit, 6 will get you so many berries. And if you want, you can make them herb gardens. You have the funds for it. Might as well, upgrade. April is here, year 4. Just wait to grow. It is May, year 4. Lots to do in May. You're going to go to the trade post. You're going to turn off exporting all firewood from here on out. You're going to set your planks higher. You're going to set your food to the maximum 999. And you're going to build another communal oven because you won't be able to keep up with all the bread you'll be making. You're going to make 9 more fields and another farmhouse. You're going to make more vegetable burgage plots. In June of year 4, you can make more burgage plots and push for 100 housing. That gives you a population of 300. And again, I'm just continuing to make like forester huts. I'm working on the farm stuff. I've got the burgage plots going. Get these turned into veggies. And that just crashed my game. Wow. So because my game crashed and I know that the enemy is about to capture a territory, this is what happens. Because I had to load the game, you'll see that when I try to hire a mercenary, it says they arrive in Loserville. And if I hire them, it won't spend my money and they won't appear on the map. This means if I try to fight the enemy, this doesn't happen to the enemy Baron. He can hire these people and I'm just dead because right now all I have are archers. Right? Now, if I could hire the mercenaries and use my archers, I could absolutely prevent him from taking the territory down here, which right now it's not even showing that he's capturing it, but I'm sure it'll pop up any minute. Well, it seems that I have found a crash. Every time I try to build a vegetable garden at this, triangle burgage plot, it crashes my game. So what if I try to build it at this one? Okay, that one works, but this one's a dud. I have to demolish it and build it elsewhere. That's a shame. Also, did it just redo the King's Road? Odd. Alright, so unfortunately, my only backup save was in December of year 3. This is why I've been telling you this whole time to make backup saves. Because I don't have a way to stop this guy from claiming this, because I literally can't hire the freaking mercenaries because my game crashed. So, otherwise, I could take his army on, because right now I could summon how many archers? I mean, I have a lot of archer battalions, right? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and like 120 plus. This would be 120, 30, 40, 50, like I'd have over 200 something units. He'd probably have about 90 to 100 right now if we fought. But again, there's literally nothing I can do. Though I could do the cheese kite method, but that's a lot of micro, and I just can't be bothered. I just want to finish the guide. So, yeah, he's going to capture this territory, but under normal circumstances, that wouldn't happen. You would just be stuck with the 2 he spawns in with. Now, another thing I can do is I can start claiming Icon Hall here, if I want. And that will force all bandit spawns to go to walled band or whatever, and that's something that we could possibly do. Alright, July, year 4, keep building, keep upgrading, keep getting more of those chicken coops. Because I have 3 on the tannery now, I don't have a surplus of hide, so if you want more goats, you can, but just having a nice amount of leather is more than enough. I also forgot to mention, if your game crashes or you save and load or close the game, you have to redo your saw pits construction reserve. So make sure to crank that back up, because you're going to want a lot of planks for the boom. And that's why I'm cranking mine back up to like 100. 101 at least. Why not? Alright, that'll do it. August, year 4, go to your trade post, change your war bows to 180. That way you have a surplus. You want to always have a surplus based on your population. In September, year 4, just keep managing families that move in and just fill buildings. There's really not a whole lot to do here right now. I mean, just start cramming them into wherever you can fit them. Still not a lot to do in October, year 4. Just wait for your town to grow. November, year 4, same thing. Just wait to grow. In December of year 4, you're going to make a storehouse and a granary. You're going to upgrade them and save your game. Make sure to make them near your marketplaces. That way the marketplaces will, you know, fill the items up. And make sure to check your marketplaces. This one has 16 remaining storages left. This one is clearly full with 0. So I would make mine probably right around in here. We're almost there. January, year 5, just wait for growth. In February, year 5, you're going to finally build a tavern, and you're going to build it near your storage buildings, near your marketplaces, preferably, if you can fit it as close as possible to those guys. So like right here would be really good for me, because I got storehouse here, there's a granary, etc., etc. But we're not gonna man it. We don't have the ability to make ale, and we're not gonna import ale that costs too much. We're just getting this construction out of the way so we don't have to worry about it later when we boom. In March of year 5, don't forget to add your families back to the berries, even though it's empty. It starts growing in March, so just throw them in there now. You're going to get a little notification that there's nothing for them to do, but they'll be working. Don't worry, it's just a bug. Also, I've encountered a bug. It's been taking my regional wealth away. It happens randomly. I'm not importing anything into the city at all. I am not importing a damn thing, but it literally took like 300 of my wealth away immediately. Don't know where it went, don't know why. In April of year 5, you will have a second raid. This one will be much bigger. So it starts out with the, instead of 2, it's now 4. So you do have enough archers to just bully them out. Like if you put all of your archers in a line, stacked up, they can just shoot them all down, no problem. But you will incur losses. So, you can also just, you know, use some damn mercenaries if you want. Looks like I only got archers this time around. Normally, you would have your spearmen to handle this, but just, you know, rally all your... Like, you have so many people, right? You outnumber them massively. So, again, you can just rally everybody and then just have them chill. And if you fight in your own territory, you'll have more morale, but if you fight outside of your territory, then you don't have to clean up the bodies, and that's a bonus for me. Like, I would just prefer to do that, so I'm gonna go ahead and rally my army. And again, for archers, since you don't have a front line, everyone's gonna push forward and everyone's gonna shoot at will, and you don't want anyone running. That's all there is to it. You just make a double wide line or a single wide circular line, and that's all you need to win. Now, after this fight, you're gonna have more than enough influence. You could capture the last region, and if you do, there will be no more bandit camps popping up, which means no more free money. Or you can spend 2,000 influence and capture one of the sections. Since the enemy's army always spawns here, if you capture this, you technically beat his home base and you'll get an achievement. Then you'll have to beat all of his territories, and then you technically won the campaign. So what you can do is you can make a safety save right here while your army is deployed. You can check your mercenaries. If you have a bunch, you can hire them all, and then go, you know, capture a territory if you want. It's up to you however you want to play. May, June, and July, year 5, you're just going to wait for growth. There's really not a whole lot to do. Just wait to max out your population. August, year 5, you guessed it, just wait for growth. September, year 5, it's finally time to stop twiddling our thumbs. We're going to put families in the tavern to get it ready. You're going to save at 100 families, and it's time to boom. Now, if you mess this up or things go bad, you can always undo it, because it gets weird when you start upgrading the burgage plots. Sometimes they do or don't get the right food or clothing or whatever to go up to tier 2 to tier 3. But what we're trying to do is get as high tier as quick as possible and spend all of our cash, because we're going to start getting taxed by the king for tiering up. And unfortunately, in my playthrough, I messed up with my stone, so I won't be able to build a manor. But at this point, you would also build a manor and a garrison hall, and you would spend all of your coin, all of your treasury on retinue with upgraded armor. These are basically super soldiers, which you never want to die. Or you could spend all your money mass expanding to all the other territories. And yeah, so that's up to you, whatever you want to do. Now, I also want to mention this is the year where those apple trees, those orchards that we've, you know, invested in way at the start of the game, those are going to pay off and start giving us triple the amount of food. And September is harvest month, so check your food. We got 6 apples already, and that number is just going to shoot through the roof. At this point, you need to choose 6 of your burgage plots, and I recommend the ones very close to the storage facilities, close to the taverns that have been built and around for a while, not the ones with vegetables or anything. They need to be chicken coops. So this is a chicken coop, this is a goat, this is a chicken coop, that's a goat, that's a chicken. So you want 6 of them that are chicken coops, as close to the storage as possible, that have been around for a while. So I'm going to do these. And you're going to upgrade them to level 2. Alright, so that one, that's 2, that's 3, 4, not that one either. That's 5, and 6. 6 burgage plots upgrading to tier 2. Let's go. As soon as those burgage plots upgrade to level 2, you're going to upgrade them to the following. You're going to be making a blacksmith, and yes, this is going to get rid of your chicken coop, I know. You're going to change it to a blacksmith. There we go. And then we have a brewery extension. Alright. Let's see here. And then we are going with 2 tailors. That's right, that's tailor 1. Tailor 2. And then you're going with a cobbler. That's the boots. And a joiner. For now, we were going to get more in a little while, but this is just to start with. Do 6 at a time. When those are done, you have to click on the building and set what you're going to have them make. So, for instance, when I click the blacksmith and then click general, I can tell it to focus on building spears. Otherwise, it's just going to randomly pick one of these and waste all your resources. The brewery will automatically brew. The tailor, you're going to have one of them make cloaks and the other one make clothes, not gambesons. Alright. So that's your tailors. And then for the cobbler, he's just going to make shoes automatically. And for the joiner, you're going to have him make large shields. Later, we're going to be doing wooden parts and small shields on separate joiners for economy, just to sell. They're really, really good to sell, but not right now. Next up, you're going to select your granaries and have them not store ale. So where are my granaries? There's the large granary. You're going to click the granary, click advanced, scroll down, and then click the ale so that it is X'd out and transparent. Do that for both of your granaries. You should have 2 of them if you're, been following along. There we go. Now what that will do is all the ale will go into the tavern, making these artisans super duper happy. Also, by the way, all these buildings we've been doing are taking away from your assigned builders. They are artisans. That's their job now. You can't reassign them. Also, at this point, go ahead and use those 2 talent points. You're going to learn trade logistics and sheep breeding. Oh boy. Now, one thing I want to mention is if you're doing really well and you didn't have to pump everything into your treasury, as in things worked out for you, you could increase your sheep if you want to 20. You can let your sheep naturally get to 20, and you can actually set your livestock trader on sheep to full trade and just leave it at 20. But what that'll do is you will buy sheep up to 20, and then you'll sell from there. And then, so I don't like to do that. I like to set it to export 20. That way, anything above 20 will be sold. But you can just set export to lambs to 0, or you can just put it at 1 or whatever. That way, one's always at least growing into a sheep, and that's worth 10. So it's up to you however you want to run that. I don't know which one is more profitable. I really don't have time to experiment. I gotta play other games. I'm sorry. Also, now's a good time to just put another market chunk down near your storage buildings. So I'm just gonna throw some right about there. That's fine. You always want to be ahead on the markets, because I've only got 5 stalls left. Not that, you know, these new artisans are going to open stalls, you know, to sell their clothes, so just make sure you have space for them. Now, at this point, because we just had that perk point, trade routes are a little cheaper, so you're going to open a trade route for spears. There we go. And you're going to export them at 72. So that means 72 of your soldiers, or 2 lines worth, will be spearmen. And once you have the funds, you're going to do the same thing for large shields. You might have the funds now, you might not, just give it time. It is October year 5, I forgot to mention, on the trading post, turn off exporting of dyes entirely, and hides if it's still on. So yeah, we don't want to export either of those anymore. November year 5, you are going to make the manor the highest construction priority. I have the manor built, I'm just building the garrison tower now. And after that, try to get those artisan buildings, including the Fletcher that you started with or have had for a very long time, and get that upgraded to level 3 as soon as the game allows. Right now, it's saying that my taverns don't have the supply, so I don't know what's going on with that. They really, like, everyone should be working, but this game's kind of buggy sometimes, especially with my market this playthrough, oh my god. But you want to upgrade the artisans first to tier 3, that way it gives an extra family to produce more goods. Otherwise, we can just make more artisans. We have plenty of population to do it. That's why we boomed so hard. So again, just upgrade everything to tier 2. That's going to give you more extra money. And yeah, that way we can open more trade routes. Speaking of trade routes, it looks like I have enough now to open a trade route for large shields. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Set that one at export at 72 as well. There we go. So proceeding here is a little risky. It really depends on how you want to do it. I would make a safety save. So I'm just going to type safety. There we go. And so what you want to do is you can open your military menu, go to retinue, click this little paintbrush, and you can hire more, but you can also basically make them super soldiers by giving them the best armor in the game, which is what I highly recommend. It really, really increases their stats and makes them very hard to kill in combat unless they are absolutely surrounded and overwhelmed. And also recruiting them and then upgrading all the way is also what I recommend with your funds. But if you want to keep some around to hire all the mercenaries for a big fight, that's up to you. But just note that we are getting taxed by the king, and because we're not going to be taxing our settlement, we're going to be in a deficit for a little while. And it looks like I had 17 out of 24. I didn't have enough money for any more than that, but that is 17 super soldiers now at our command, with no money left for mercenaries. So it's however you want to play. That's why we made the safety save. But here in 109 days, we're going to be going into the negatives of 600, and your treasury will just continue to go into the negatives forever until you have massive income. But it's going to take some time to open all these trade routes and sell a surplus of goods. But don't worry, we're going to get there. It's just not really a thing you can do by year 6. I mean, you could if you focused purely on economy, but you won't have the population boom, you won't have the massive food supplies for tithes to take over the map. Like, your map isn't going to look this complete. And again, this one here is an error. If you skip to this part of the video, a bug caused this to be captured, so there was nothing I could do about that. That's just how it is. Yikes. Alright, and December year 5, there we go. I didn't have the text on the screen. So, you want to keep upgrading your burgage plots, that's all you're doing, and that's basically kind of a timber lock, but you have so much wood production at this point, and it's infinite, that you should be fine. Again, just keep clicking on the greenhouse icons and upgrading them to tier 2. There's a lot of them that you're going to need to do. You'll get it done, and again, every time you upgrade, it's going to be giving you more passive regional wealth per household. And at tier 3, it even adds more living space. So you really want to get those tier 3s on your, orchards and your vegetable gardens. if you can. Like, this one can go to level 2. We want to get those to level 3, but we also want our artisans to go to level 3. But if you can't get your artisans to level 3, you can just make more artisans in level 2 buildings. That's fine as well. Alright, January and February of year 6, just keep upgrading. I don't know why, but I think my game is bugged because I'm not getting flax, and when I do get flax, it turns into malt, which goes nowhere, and it's not turning into ale. So I don't know, I'm just screwed. I can't get to tier 3, which means I can't get better deals. And so here's what you would normally do. You unlock better deals, and once you have all your trade routes and you're making big bazonga bucks, which I'm still gonna cover that, you would import mail and helmets. You're not crafting them yourself unless you got an infinite iron mine, which almost no one ever gets. But if you did, then you could craft it. But you're gonna have to import that, because what that does is it's a 150% enhancement to your soldiers. But they can only wear mail if they're from a tier 3 house. Which, if I can't get the houses to tier 3 because my ale is bugged, then I have to import the ale. And if it's still bugged, then I can never get tier 3. It's fine. You can still beat the game without it. It's just harder to do. It's more time consuming. But yeah, just keep clicking houses and upgrading to tier 2. And if any of them happen to be tier 3, upgradable, then go ahead and do that. Alright, so one thing I've done is I've taken another tier 2 burgage plot. I've turned it into a joiner, and I'm having it craft small shields, which I'm not going to be using. So what I did is I went to the trading post, went to trade, went to military, and I opened a trade route for small shields, and I set it to export. And I didn't set it to 0, I set it to 1, because it's bugged. If you put it to 0, sometimes they won't sell at all. But what'll happen is I'll have one small shield, and all the others that I have should be sold. The next thing that I want to do is I want to start doing... hold on, commodities. No, it's, where is it? It is wooden parts, which I have exactly enough to open a trade route for wooden parts, so I'm going to click that. That makes me broke. Export, keep 1. Wooden parts currently aren't used in the game. And to do that, I'm going to go and find a tier 2 burgage plot that is not a goat, shack or whatever. Let's see, that's the joiner, that's a goat, this is a chicken one. Okay, so, and then I'm going to build the joiner's workshop, and then this joiner, once it completes, I'm going to put it at highest priority. Once this completes, this one will craft wooden parts, and that's going to be using planks. So the large shields use planks, the small shields use planks, the wooden parts use planks. So we're just converting all of our planks into money, which we've been earning planks this entire playthrough, and not spending them, because there's not enough stuff to build with the planks. But planks are used to get to tier 3, so we're not going to spend all of our planks. That's why we have a limit and a reserve on them. So now we're going to have this one produce wooden parts, and there we go. That's more money in our pocket every month. Alright, so as you can see, royal tax underscore unpaid. It's funny, the programming language. So our treasury is in the negatives, which means we can't, hire retinues, we can't hire mercenaries. The only way to make money from our treasury, especially if the last territory gets claimed, there won't be any more bandit camps to raid. It would be to beat up the Baron and take his bribe after we beat him up, of course. Or you go to the manor and you set taxes, but this makes your people unhappy. But hey, once your population capped and you're not making more houses, who cares? But if you make it too high, like the people get too unhappy, they move out. So you lose your workers and you lose your military. So you can tax them a little bit, but what the tax does is it doesn't tax how much they're earning. It taxes how much you have in the regional wealth section. So you want to let your regional wealth build up once you have all of your economic stuff tied away. But we still have more things that we need to buy first. So in the trading post, there's still more things that we want to trade, right? So we have our military is done. We have war bows, small shields, and large shields. These are an infinite resource because they're made of wood. We have infinite wood because we replant the trees. So we're always going to make money off of these no matter what. And we can craft an infinite amount. Spears, we're going to eventually run out of, but, we're just turning our metal into money. And hopefully our spearmen don't die. If they do, you just load game. So it's kind of a save scum there. Shoes are going to be one of our next big ones, but it costs 1,040 to establish a trade route. And it would have been higher if we made trade routes with all these little piddly things like stone and planks and crap like that. But once we can afford a trade route for shoes, we're going to have a massive surplus of shoes because Shoes come from leather, and we get infinite leather from the goat shacks. Goat sheds, whatever they're called. So shoes, they stack up like crazy very quickly, and they sell for a very nice amount. If your town starts getting a surplus of sheep, you could start doing clothes and cloaks, because once you have a surplus of sheep, your dyes will very much keep up. You'll have a surplus of those. That's pretty far away, though, so don't count on that for like a quick victory. And then we have wooden parts, because that comes from wood. That's an infinite resource. And then if you really, really want to, you could start doing wool. You can start doing whatever high yield, like infinite thing that your starting base might have had. For me, it was berries. So I would do dyes, which I have dyes turned off because I'd rather have cloaks and clothing. So that's why I'm using the dyes. And then leather. Leather's another big one you could turn on, and you could just start, doing leather. Assuming you can keep up with it, I would recommend just making more shoe craftsmen. That's cobblers. So I'm going to go do that now. I'm probably going to make 2 or 3 more cobblers. Let's see. We got to find chicken shacks. We're replacing all the chicken shacks. No more KFCs. Instead, we're getting shoe stores. I know the neighborhood's getting gentrified, but that's just how it is. Alright, so March year 6, the rest is basically up to you. At this point, you have the numbers. You can literally just spam spearmen and bows. And depending on if you did the mercenary thing or not, it's a little late for that. But if you keep playing slowly, you can tax your people when you have regional wealth built up. And you can get back into the positives. It just takes a few years. It's just really, really annoying. And if we build a bunch of tier 3s, we're going to push into a large town, which is going to increase the taxes by about triple. So it's going to be about 1,800 of, royally, and this is once per year. So you're going to have to be taxing your people and managing all of that. Or if you want, you could start, busting all these other zones and starting over and making towns and exporting and importing and trading amongst your cities and having all of them generate wealth, and you can get, retinues from each of these settlements, and they can all combine to have a super retinue army. There's a lot you can do, but me, I just make spearmen and archers and then buy the mercenaries, and then I just go kill the NPC baron guy, and then that's over. Like, normally I would have the map controlled, but we had a bug earlier in the playthrough where the game crashed, which means I can't buy mercenaries because the game crashed. The game won't let you. It's this anti-save scum mechanic, so that sucks. So that was a loss there. But these other 2 settlements, easy peasy to smash. From here, everything's set, everything's automated. You don't even have to like allocate in micro anymore. You just let your settlement do its thing if you want, and just, turn on a speed hack if you want, and pass a couple years and crank up that wealth, and you're all set to conquer the game. It's over. Or you can just play peacefully. Anytime that the enemy baron tries to take your land, you could beat him up, take a bribe, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I want to alliterate. You don't need a big army to beat the Baron. You can just have 2 little battalions, or whatever these are called. One kites them around, and the other one stands in the capture circle for 90 days, and then you win. It's really cheesy, but again, the game's not intended to be played that way at all. And what's left to do, too, is if you need influence, you go to your manor, and then you open a tithe? I don't know. I think it's pronounced tithe. And you set that, and the way tithe works, it's going to tax your total food count. So right now I have 2.3 thousand food. This is why I had you make so many damn chicken coops and vegetable gardens and apple orchards, alright? And let's say 10%. 10% of 2,300 is 230. It's going to take away 230 food, not at random, but it's going to take that percentage on vegetables, that percentage on eggs, that percentage on apples. But at the end of the day, it's still 230 food gone every month. And it will add 230 influence so that you can spend it on, attacking the Baron or capturing outposts or whatever it is you want to do. But yeah, that is Manor Lords, and this is kind of the end of the video, but I just want to talk a little bit more about stuff that doesn't really matter, like about the builds and upgrades and stuff, but just in general, like, I'm more of an MMORPG kind of, I guess, variety YouTuber of sorts, but mostly MMORPGs, and many people that watch my channel are going to be like, why the hell are you playing a city builder sim game? Why the hell are you covering Manor Lords? That game went from 140,000 players to like 18,000 in a week. And the answer is simple, alright? As a YouTuber, I meet a lot of very rude publishing companies, a lot of very, very rude game developers. And a lot of the times as a YouTuber, you know, we go, like, I'll go onto the Steam forums, the Discord, whatever it is for a game, and I'll be like, hey, your game's really cool. I have an audience, you know, I have 100K, over 100K subscribers, I get over 1 million views a month, and I would like to show your game to my audience. And what most indie developers will do, and what most even other developers will do, is either completely ignore me, or ban me from the Steam forums. Oh boy, like, I'm gonna make a video explaining all of this later, right? But essentially what happens is, out of all of the game developers I've ever, like, tried to talk to, you know, in this manner, Hooded Horse, which is the publisher for this game, was the nicest, quickest, and most polite, like, very impressive customer service, I gotta say. Like, so I went to the Steam forums, I was like, I asked a simple question. Where can I go to sign up for a content creator program, or where can I go to ask for a copy of the game to show my audience they might like this game? And, you know, the usual riffraff on Steam, you know, popped up, just buy the game, dude, just buy the game. Yeah, just buy the game, even though I can't pay my own bills, right? But anyway, the point is that Hooded Horse, within, you know, minutes, DM'd me on Steam, which I didn't know you could even do. And they were like, oh yeah, just go to this webpage and then send an email to this email. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I did, and then a little while later, they replied and gave me the game. They literally just gave me the game and took my word, like, one single email. Now, obviously, I showed my channel and showed it was me and, you know, all the usual YouTuber, you know, riffraff stuff, right? But almost all other game devs, they treat you like garbage. Like, I had to fight tooth and nail to get a copy of V Rising. I had to sit there on the Discord and beg for it for like weeks. For other games, I will ask on the Steam forums, the devs will just ban me, or they will block me, or they will prevent me from posting, or I will email a company and never hear back from them, or I will hear back negatively, you know, and it's just so weird, right? But these guys were very nice. They were very good at communication, probably the best. They were the best that I've ever encountered when talking with a publishing company. So, you know, they gave me the game for free, and I'm not being paid to play this. I'm not being sponsored to play this. I'm showing this game off because the publishing company was so kind, courteous, quick, and, you know, vigilant with their communication. And this is, again, they were getting hounded by thousands of people doing the same thing that I was doing, and they were, you know, very polite and nice, and that deserves recognition. That should be industry standard, but it's not. Sadly, it's not. And because of that, that's why I chose to devote an entire video to this. And if you are into city building games, I know I kind of played this like an RTS. I'm not building roads. You know, I could build some roads since we're at the end here. You know, like, here's a little, you know, a little road path. There you go. But essentially, I did play this like an RTS, like this is Age of Empires and not so much like a SimCity sim builder. But anyway, that is Manor Lords, and again, it's got a lot of work to do. There's a lot of balancing to do. And if you want to know if anything in this video has been patched or fixed or altered, please look in the comments. And look, when I make these videos, these one-off videos, I don't know how many views they're going to get. Sometimes they do good, but looking at my metrics and how popular the game is, and because it's outside of my wheelhouse, and because all the Banner Lord and City Builder YouTubers kind of rushed into the scene and took charge and already weighed their anchors on this game, I don't expect this video to get more than 2,000 views ever. So, but I did make it out of the kindness of the publisher's heart, you know. That's why I made the video. I literally devoted a whole month to this. And yes, it doesn't make me any money. I really need to, like, work on my finances in real life. But anyway, that's the video. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, even though I'm a 100K sub YouTuber, I still read every single comment. And let me know what you think. I'll do my best to answer the questions, but there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know. And some of the stuff that I've been saying in this video is partially from other creators too, which I trust, but I have not yet verified. Which this game would take a lot of my time to verify, and I just don't have the funds in real life to sit down and play. I literally have to play what pays the bills. Unfortunately, it's games that I hate and games that hate me. And that's just life right now, and maybe it'll get better one day when the nukes drop, or aliens invade, or a meteor hits, or zombies happen. I don't know, but the point is I'm not asking you to subscribe or anything. All I'm asking is that you click like, leave a comment, because I have no life, no friends, no family. So you're my only social interaction. I know, I'm getting pretty pathetic here at the end, right? And finally, on the video, on the right side of your screen right now, there is a video that you should absolutely click, and if you don't click it, then the next time you go grocery shopping, it's going to be really busy and there won't be any cashiers. Sorry.